And good evening, everybody, and welcome. We're in Albion College tonight in the Kresge Gymnasium. Jim Funderburg along with Jim Bellamy as we're getting ready for MIAA basketball action tonight as the Flying Dutch have flown down from Holland and they're ready to play a little basketball against our Britons tonight, Jim. And I'll tell you what, this is one of those games that you get every now and then that you hope maybe your team is ready to step up and take it to that next level. Coming off a game where they beat Calvin. Now, we all understand that Calvin's not having the greatest season that they normally have. They normally have a little better year than what they're having right now. They're tied with us. But here's an opportunity. You've got 4 teams at the top of the conference. They're 4-2. You're 2-4. There's a team in the middle there that's 3-3. If you can bounce hope out of this thing here tonight, you all of a sudden start to climb your way back with about 6 weeks to play into what might be a tournament bid yet. And
you never really know. I mean, you look at the way the top of the MIAA is stacked. Olivet and Hope both 4-2 now in the conference, and that happens because Hope just edged Olivet to force that tie. None of these teams are running away with it. I mean, Hope only 10-7 overall. Olivet only 9-8, so it's not like those teams at the top are really setting the world on fire either. You know, you see Adrian at 13-4 having a pretty impressive season, but then you get beyond that. You know, Hope, Olivet, barely above 500, trying right at that 500 line just below. And then Alma and Calvin, and you see the Brits 5-12 just down there. So there really isn't a whole lot of separation. And you'd like to think that home court gives you, you know, say 3 to 5 points.
Sure.
And, you know, it's really kind of up to the home crowd at that point to energize the men with Coach May's team tonight. And, you know, you certainly hope and you think that that's going to happen. But one of the things that, you know, we also talked about before the game, too, is the fact that Coach May's team is still kind of a work in progress.
Yes, yes.
You know, you talked about making adjustments to the lineup, finding the rotations, finding the chemistry, and they're getting there. You know, the last game, very successful, and, you know, they've had kind of an up and down stretch over the last 5, but, you know, they still haven't really found that chemistry. And, you know, if you're the optimist, you certainly hope that the last game kind of is a glimpse in the direction he's going, and the team said. So you got to think that take good care of the basketball. You have to think also that they're playing at a pretty good pace. I've known Hope to be a fairly quick up and down team. You know, and you look at the last 5, for example, that they've played. Other than the last 2 have kind of gone in a different trajectory. But you look at the games prior to that, back on the 6th at Kalamazoo, they won 86-77. So the opponent was held to 77 there. On the 10th against Calvin at home, they gave up only 72 in a victory. When they went to Adrian, they did give up 74 in the loss. They only put 63 up in that game, but, you know, Adrian does that.
Yeah.
You know, again, it's an excellent defensive team. Alma was kind of the anomaly. They won that one 99-88 back on the 17th. And then their last game on the 20th against Olivet was an 87-84 game. So what that tells me, Jim, is they're versatile. They can play different tempos. They're not afraid to run. I mean, if you can put 99 on the board, then, you know, you have to have some speed.
Yeah.
And, you know, you need to be able to make these possessions happen and convert them pretty quickly. You're definitely not burning the shot clock like we saw in the women's game that we called last time, where they're not using the entire shot clock.
Yeah.
They're getting up and down.
Well, they score, to your point, they score basically 82 a night. And so that's going to be an interesting contest tonight because the Brits give up almost 80 a night.
Yep.
So you've got to believe that Hope's probably going to come in here and put the better part of 80 on the scoreboard. Now, the Brits, who normally score 63, 64 a night, can they stand up to that challenge? Can they either stand up defensively and hold Hope down below their season average, or can they step up offensively and trade buckets with them for 2 halves here tonight?
Well, and if, you know, Coach May runs a younger team out there, those younger players are probably more used to playing that up-tempo style of offense from high school anyway.
Yeah.
And so while it may not have translated into the season statistics for the Brits so far this season, there's nothing saying that that team can't come out, our Brits can't come out and play that kind of basketball. Now, the way the season stats have bared out so far, to your point, scoring in the 60s, giving up in the 80s, and the speed and the offense for Hope scoring in the 80s themselves, it looks like the kind of game that would go up and down. So if you're the Brits, it's that classic, do we try to run with them, or do we try to be more conservative and kind of keep the ball out of their hands? And as we talked about in the women's game that we covered before, one of the drawbacks to doing that is always, if you're going to shorten the game by taking the full shot clock each possession, you better be knocking down those shots or crashing the offensive boards. Because if you're taking the whole shot clock down and you're missing, they're going to run and score because they're going to get their points. And if you're just holding the ball to hold the ball and you're not converting, it might be 14-2 early on, or midway through the first half, and you might not have the offensive firepower to keep up.
No doubt about that. Around the conference tonight, Kalamazoo is at Adrian. You would expect that's a win for Adrian, for the Bulldogs tonight. Alma is at Trine, and Calvin is at Olivet. So you really have in Olivet and Adrian two of the top teams really in games that they ought to win. Calvin again in that bubble spot, just like we are with the Britons here, with 2 wins in the conference, sitting at 2-4. So you would hope, just like I'm sure Coach Davis hopes for us tonight, that our guys are going to, or Jody May hopes tonight that his team's going to come out and play the game of their season and make it interesting and put it all together. But more than likely, when the night's over, Adrian's going to beat Kalamazoo, Trine's probably going to beat Alma, and Olivet's going to beat Calvin. And if you're going to want to try to work your way back into this thing, you're going to have to knock somebody off, and you got them sitting right here in front of you tonight. Good crowd on hand tonight from Hope too, Jimmy. They brought a nice contingent down here from Holland.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a bad drive at all, and the weather has cooperated up here, even though we got a little dusting of snow. Nothing that's going to impact anybody's ability to make that trip down. And we made that trip up before for football. Beautiful drive and beautiful area, and probably not as much excitement going on up in Holland as there was last time with the women's soccer going on right next to the football stadium and all that. But definitely a good night for basketball. And I mean, really, it's a Wednesday night, like you and I said on the ride up here. There are no pro sports playoff games going on tonight, I don't believe. So what else are you going to do on a Wednesday night besides watch some D3 hoops?
Attaboy. Just sit back next to your computer or bring it up on your big screen TV and sit back and enjoy the ball game tonight. Enjoy what we're going to bring you here this evening, because we're expecting a good one. Crowd starting to file in. The good crowd coming in now from Albion. The local folks starting to slide in here and filling up the bleachers to our right. And that's been, as we've seen numerous times, the student section seems to move from the right to the left as the team goes that direction, and where they sit normally becomes a little better home court advantage for your team when you're heading towards your guys. So I hopefully and expect to see that. Now there are some Hope folks sitting on the other end right now, but I would expect that we'll see the Brits move from the right to the left as their team changes sides, and it'll be interesting to see how we interact with one another in the bleachers tonight, but it should be a good ball game tonight. Going back to a couple of the numbers here, Jim, as we look at things, Jason Beckman comes into this ball game averaging 23 points a night. Dante Hawkins was 16 points a night. But the other night when they won, it was a very interesting situation, because they had Riley Lewis, who was a backup point guard that came in and scored 17 for him off the bench the other night to really turn that basketball game around. So they not only have 2 solid guards that they'll start, they have the ability to bring a third one in off the bench. And the Britons are really going to have to match up well with their front court.
Also, Jim, I would keep an eye on not only Riley Lewis, but Preston Granger.
Yep.
Preston Granger, 51. He's a 6'6" freshman out of Lansing. In conference, he's giving you about 3 more points a game. He's only getting 8 on the season, but he's getting just a shade over 11 in conference play. So, that's surprising, but a welcome surprise for the Dutch when a freshman steps up his game during conference play.
Well, and you look on the other side for the Britons here tonight. James L. Davis is a freshman. He's 5'9" tall, scoring about a handful a night. You also are going to bring Quentin Armstrong in. He's a 6'5" freshman out of Fort Wayne. You're bringing him into the ball game here again tonight. So you've got a couple of young guys who, as we've always said, this deep in the season, you're not a freshman anymore, but you still are a freshman, and you're still going to be matching up with some of the better players in this conference right now, and it's going to be interesting to see how they will match up and play tonight. Obviously, you go to the bench, you bring guys like Quay Burks in and Jalen Ford, who give you a little more experience on that floor tonight, but it's just going to be everything I think the Brits can do tonight to be able to pull this one out. But hey, Wednesday night, as you said, let's throw the ball in the air and see how it all plays out.
Looking forward to another great MIAA matchup, Jim.
With that, that'll wrap up our pregame show. We're getting ready for the national anthem and also the announcement of the teams. So with that, why don't we send it down to the PA right now and get ready to meet the participants in the ball game tonight. It's the Britons against the Flying Dutch here on the Briton Sports Network.
Welcome once again to Kresge Gymnasium, located on the campus of Albion College. We are just about set for this MIAA men's basketball matchup between the visiting home college Flying Dutchmen and your Albion College Britons. At this time, we would like to ask that you please rise as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem. For the Briton guard, 5'9" freshman from Ypsilanti,
There you have the starters for both teams, and we'll just see how these things line up tonight. One thing we didn't point out, Beckman had 41 the other night against Alma, all right? So the young fella can score the rock a little bit. In fact, during the week, he averaged over 40 points. That's why he was the MIAA Player of the Week. And hopefully tonight he doesn't find the rims here at the Kresge quite to his liking. And maybe that 40 becomes 14 tonight, which would make this a much better ball game. So as we said, it'll be Wheeler, Davis, Collins, Ebling, and Armstrong for the Brits tonight. Beckman, Hawkins, Towns, Ray, and Granger will suit up tonight for the Flying Dutch. And in the center circle to jump it, Quentin Armstrong from Lansing Holt High School, and Preston Granger, also a Lansing boy. So we got a couple of Lansing products here going to face off against one another here this evening.
And webcast at albion.edu is the email address to send us a note and let us know where you're watching tonight.
Ball's tipped to the Flying Dutch. Teddy Ray had the basketball, and he got it immediately to Jason Beckman. They'll start to weave here on their end, and they're going right into the home crowd and all the students on that end. And the Brits have an inordinate number of cheerleaders out here tonight as well.
I like it.
Making a lot of noise. Always good stuff. Hawkins with the basketball, almost lost it here. Dante, a Holland boy, as he drives, tries to put that ball in the air, and Mr. Armstrong says, nope, not tonight.
3 on the shot clock as they'll take it out from the baseline. Don't let an interior pass here spoil a good defensive possession.
Brits doing a good job on an inbound.
Foul.
And the whistle gets blown, and it will go against number 15, Dennis Towns. So a nice start for the Britons. They took it all the way down to that 30-second mark and turned the Flying Dutch away. So maybe a good start, and hopefully good things coming here as the Britons, Quentin Armstrong, with a nice block to kind of accentuate everything in that entire series. Ebling with the basketball. Gives it to Wheeler, who feeds it inside to Armstrong. Armstrong kind of trapped in that lane, going to have to get back outside. He's got Towns on him. Nice strong move to the rim, but he's tipped away. Granger knocks it over to his running mate Hawkins, and then Granger on the other side with an offensive charge as Corey Wheeler sneaks in, gets set up on the low block, and draws the charge. That's 2 trips and 2 fouls now on the Dutch.
Speaking of Corey Wheeler, he is just 19 points shy of reaching the 1,000-point milestone in his career. And if he gets it, he will become the 21st Briton men's player to achieve the accomplishment.
James L. Davis brings it in, the freshman. Gives it off to Collins. Collins to Armstrong. To Wheeler on the right wing. Back to Davis for the jumper. A little bit too strong, no good. The rebound comes off to Dennis Towns. Brits have gotten a couple of shots.
No offensive rebounds, though, Jim.
No offensive rebounds and no points. It's 0-0 here, about a minute and a half into this ball game. Good to have you with us here tonight on a Wednesday night. Hawkins with a 3-point shot from the right wing, and it's 3-0 Flying Dutch.
They're going to score.
Yeah, they are going to score.
I don't think it's going to be one of those 8-6 games at halftime. So, you know, you're going to need more than just a good shot.
Wheeler to answer on the other end, no good, and Hawkins clears the backboard.
Going to need those offensive rebounds. There's travel.
Teddy Ray got a little bit ahead of himself down on this end. And the 3rd turnover of the night gives the ball back to the Britons, trailing 3-0.
It was all thanks to Corey Wheeler.
Yeah.
Snuck up kind of on his hip pocket right there to play defense, and he turned around and he had to take that extra step because he didn't expect to see the guy there. So got the little extra step walk.
Coach May has been working with these guys all year. Maybe he has found that starting lineup right now. Going to have to take that goose egg off that scoreboard, though, here pretty quickly as Wheeler drives in, no good. Ebling puts the rebound back up, no good, and they'll have a reach-in foul on the rebound, I believe, against Ebling. And that will be his first here and the first on the team, as the Brits still having a hard time scoring on their end here early.
But now they're crashing the boards, which I like. You know, that's no team is going to shoot 100% from the floor, so you're going to need to be committed. You got to send a guy out to play defense to stop the transition. You still have to have at least one player ready to crash the boards every possession.
Granger gives it to Hawkins. Hawkins between his legs, back down to the corner. Back out front to Teddy Ray.
Good help defense.
Hawkins with the floater in the lane, and he's got all 5 points right now for the Flying Dutch.
And that's, again, it's so hard for a young player to keep that dribble, take one more dribble, because you think as a guard, once you get to the paint, that's big man territory. But he held his dribble, took that extra step, and gave himself a nice distance for a floater.
Nice shot by Quentin Armstrong to work his way into the lane of that little hook shot, and 5-2 now as the Brits finally score. 16:56 and counting here in the opening half.
Absolute must on that last possession.
Beckman gives it up to Hawkins, and he throws it over the head of Granger and out of bounds. We're going to say that Armstrong got a fingertip on it before it went out of bounds.
I don't know about that one, but the official's there and I'm here, so got to trust him.
Shot clock will stay at 14 as Teddy Ray inbounds underneath the Briton's bucket. Ball goes to Towns. He dribbles it once, pulls it up from about 10 and knocks it in. Can't allow him to have those kind of looks. 7-2 now, Flying Dutch.
Had his choice of a long two or a little bit simpler shot. Chose to put it on the deck once and get an easier shot and knock it down.
Collins gives it to Whelan, who kicks it out in the corner to Davis. Davis with a three-point shot that gets that friendly bounce. Looked like it was going to be a little long, had the right backspin and found its way to the floor here at the Kresge.
Benefits of practicing on this floor a lot, as you know those soft spots on the rim.
Hawkins kicks it out to Ray. Back down inside to Towns. Towns has Ebling all over him.
Good defense this possession.
Nice skip pass over to Granger, who works his way to the rim, and he gets a friendly bounce off the back of the iron. It's 9-5 now.
Hope showing a lot of patience on offense despite being more of an up-tempo team.
It's a basketball team that really picks their spots. They've got 9 points right now, 3 turnovers. Ebling fights for the rebound, can't pull it in, as Towns does. And it goes the other way to Beckman. Beckman has his shot altered, bounces around. Ebling on the floor to try to get it. They're going to say it's white basketball as it went out off of Towns' foot, I believe, and out of bounds right in front of the home crowd.
And you had Nathaniel Collins, number 30, assisting the official by pointing out as soon as that ball was deflected. Didn't matter off whom it was deflected. It was white ball right there.
Brits will make 3 substitutions real quick as Robert Ryan checks in along with, let's see, Adam Davis.
Ryan Lowe.
And Ryan Lowe. The big fella.
That's a mismatch every time.
Lowe gets double teamed down on the low block.
And you know what that means. It means somebody's open.
Jalen Fordham also checked into that basketball game. Lowe's the only guy on this basketball team that has been an MIAA Player of the Week. Fordham had a chance to go up in the air and try to take a shot, but he was pressured by Teddy Ray and had to come down with that basketball, so the up and down traveling call will give the ball back over to the Flying Dutch.
Yep, sometimes with those switches, you can't believe you have that extra second. And so you have catch, you come down, and then you do everything you know. Sometimes you just have to do a rhythm shot. If they're quick working it to you in the corner, you got to catch and shoot right away.
Beckman shoots over Fordham off the screen, and there's his first bucket of the night. You don't want this guy to warm it up. 11-5 now. The Brits find themselves down by 6. Robert Ryan with the basketball, gives it up to Ebling. Back over to Corey Wheeler. Fordham with the basketball down the lane, turns, then kicks it back outside. Ball will get to the midcourt stripe, but will not cross it as Corey Wheeler pulls it in, then drives off the glass, an awkward shot. Ebling with a bad putback, and the ball goes off the foot, I believe, of Towns underneath and out of bounds, and will stay with the Britons.
3 more subs, 2 for the Brits, 1 for the Dutch.
First sub of the night for the Dutch, Riley Lewis, the young guy we were talking about coming in off the bench here for the for them. Quay Burks will check in for the Britons here. And a whistle and a foul underneath.
It's going to go on Preston Granger, I believe, 51. It'll be 2 on him already. So at the 14-18 mark of the first half, Jim, that's 2 fouls on Preston Granger.
Jawan Perry also checking in for the Britons there on that last timeout.
So the guy who gets them 11 in conference play might not be as much of an offensive spark plug tonight for him. Foul trouble.
Lowe with the basketball, trying to use his size advantage underneath. Back out to Burks, back into Lowe. and he bounced it off his knee and out of bounds.
If they play a patient game with him, if they don't fall too far behind and can work that inside-outside game, he could use his size to potentially draw some nickel-dime fouls on the lean-ins and things like that, forearms.
Robert McGivney also checked in for Hope here on that last timeout as Hawkins' long-distance connection goes off the rim. Burks with the basketball on the outlet pass. Back to Burks for three. No. And the rebound comes off to McGivney. To Hawkins. They're moving. To Beckman. Down in the corner for the jump shot is a little bit too high. And Towns has it come off his hands. Where's it going to go? Are they going to say that Robert Ryan got it
off of Dennis Towns right there?
Towns looked like the last guy, but they're going to probably say Robert Ryan maybe pushed it out of his hands and then out of bounds. But I was going along with you, Jimmy. Yeah. It sure looked like Towns' hands were on it awful late in that possession.
But I think you can make a case with a lot of those 50-50s that the way they call it, you know, they're closer. You got to trust it.
Towns with a jump shot just inside the three-point line. No good, and the rebound comes off to the big fella, Ryan Lowe.
Have to make them pay on those misses, those one and outs. You got to knock something down on the offensive end here. Keep it tight.
Right now, the Brits only shooting 20%, but there you go. Jawan Perry with a triple makes it 11-8, and the Britons now 3 for 11 from the floor. Hope shooting 50% right now, Jimmy, 5 of 10. They've been very good with their possessions. Hawkins cuts a double team, and the block will go against the Britons' Robert Ryan. So a two-shot foul. And we will be bringing in a substitution. That's Jeff Gorel will come off the bench for Hope here. And I'm not sure whether he's coming in for Hawkins or whether they're just going to wait and sub after this first free throw. Hawkins missing the first one.
He's coming in for one of the other bigs. Yep. He'll go in, and Towns looks like he'll take a seat. So 6'4", subbing in for 6'4". They don't lose any height with that substitution.
Hawkins is a 77%er. He gets 1 out of 2, and the lead now is 4, 12-8.
So with just under 13 to play in the first half, a 4-point game here on the Briton Sports Network.
Robert Ryan with the basketball, looking for a little bit of a crease, but can't find one, so we'll bring it back out to Quay Burks.
Ryan has to be careful of that spare hand not pushing off. He likes to create space with that offhand.
Ryan has the ball stripped away, but able to control it.
Nice move.
Spin off the glass, no good. Trying to tip that rebound. Put back.
There you go.
Finally goes down. And it's Jawan Perry who's come into the ball game and knocked down 5 points for the Brits and give them a little bit of that scoring edge here early.
And that's what you have to. You have to be committed to going all out on the offensive board. That's where you're going to make up the difference in this game.
Goro with a three-point shot was wide, and the basketball falls right into Ryan Lowe's hands.
And if Lowe can get himself good position down low, he has a height advantage over everybody on that floor and should be able to turn around and get some easy shots.
Florida missed the three-point jumper on the other end. Hawkins picked it up, brought it the other direction, and was tripped and is still on the floor right now.
It fell on that ball. Hopefully he didn't get the wind knocked out of him. He got up. Floor always wins in the battle between floor and man.
That's going to be a common foul, so it will not be a shooting foul. That will be, let's see, 3 fouls on each team right now. Both teams with 3 team fouls as Goro will inbounds with Burks in front of him. Gets the ball into McGivney, who gives it right back to Goro in the corner. Tries to work the baseline, goes under a couple of Brits, but the late foul will go, I believe, on Burks coming over the top. That'll be 4 on the Brits, but it was a shooting foul, so it'll send Goro to the free throw line to shoot a couple. Goro's a 59%er.
Don't forget, folks, webcast at albion.edu is the email address. If you're watching from around here, if you're watching from the Holland area, if you're a family member of one of the players or an alumni, just let us know. Let us know where you're watching, who you're rooting for. If you want to give any shout outs, and if you're a fellow Brit, an alum, let us know what year you graduated. Want to say hi to you on the air.
Britons with 9 total rebounds so far as Goro hits both of those free throws. 8 total rebounds right now for the Flying Dutch here early on. Dutch are 2 for 3 from the charity line. The Brits have yet to go to that free throw stripe to take a shot yet.
Corey Wheeler getting ready to check in.
Perry had the ball stripped away, but it's knocked out of bounds off of Hawkins. You know what, Jimmy, the one thing I've noticed, you've got Hawkins who's been on the floor since the very beginning of the ball game right now. He is a guy that puts in an awful lot of minutes, and you also have Teddy Ray out there. Neither one of those guys have gotten a breather here yet tonight in this basketball game as we played almost half.
That's what the timeouts are for, right?
No doubt about that. Armstrong gets bumped away a little farther from the glass from McGivney, and he says, okay, I like that spot. A little hook shot up over top for the young fellow from Holt High School in Lansing.
And McGivney played that pretty well. Even bumped him off his spot without getting a foul called against him. So, he did everything you could do defensively. Just knock down the shot, tip your cap, and move on.
14-12. Jump shot will come off the rim, and Goro will be able to hang long enough to pull it his way. Drives down the lane, gets bumped by Corey Wheeler.
A little bit more on that one than on the other end.
Yeah, that was more of a, the collision. On the other end was just really kind of a couple of guys pushing and shoving and bumping a little bit.
Establishing position. In this case, it's, irresistible force and immovable object, and you have to call that one.
Ryan Gamm checks in now for the Flying Dutch. Jump shot by Girls, no good. Saved by the Britons, goes through the legs of one of the Dutch. Hawkins with the basketball over to the right wing, and the jump shot's off the iron.
Over the back.
We'll get the call on the young fellow that just came in, Gamm, for going over the back. That's 4 team fouls now for the Flying Dutch, 5 team fouls for the Britons in this 14-12 game as we're halfway through this first half.
And the Britons, a 71% free throw shooting team on the season, dips down to 69% in conference play.
Nothing overwhelming right now. Dante Hawkins has 6 points for the Flying Dutch. Ball gets thrown down to Armstrong. He works around.
Yeah, that's an offensive foul.
Little hook on that back arm.
Use that left hand to wrap around his hip right there as we get a little bit of chirping going on. Tell me this game means something.
That does mean something. That's what we like to see, and that's exactly what we have right now as the Britons have come out here to play a little basketball tonight. Juwan Perry with 5 for the Britons here. Quentin Armstrong with 4. They're the 2 leading scorers for your Brits.
Slick spot on the floor over there. He slid.
Hawkins kicks it over to the right wing. The jump shot's no good. Ball is fought for, and it's Perry that brings it down. Out in a hurry. Jump shot's a little bit short there by Nathan Collins.
I like the idea, though. Transition 2-on-2. There's no harm in a miss on that one.
14-12. It's a 2-point game as Hawkins drives the baseline, gets double teamed, gives it out to Eddie. Eddie lost the basketball, but it was poked away by Burke, so he's able to pick it back up. Jump shot rolls off the rim, and the rebound comes off to the Brits. I'll tell you what, some active hands, but Nathaniel Collins was right there to scoop that one in.
Yeah, there's no free lunches, so to speak, Jim.
Not at all. Riley Lewis, who was so hot against Alma the other night, starting off a little cold here tonight against the Britons, and let's hope it stays that way.
Team foul number 5 against Hope. This one's going on 32, Teddy Ray.
Ray has been in the game, I believe, for every minute so far, along with Dante Hawkins.
If you see that young man's face, you can tell he's one of those that's been logging a lot of minutes in a game like this, up and down. This is why they do all the conditioning they do early on and during the season. You may not like running those wind sprints, but this is why you run them right here.
This has been a wind sprint of a basketball game here early on. What a great game so far.
As they say, you'll sleep well tonight.
Fordham kicks it into Davis. And the freshman tries to get everything moving the way he wants to. Ebling comes back on the floor. Armstrong working down in that low post, and he wants the basketball.
Good defensive matchup there, though.
Back into the lane. There's that little hook shot again, but we'll have a whistle before the shot.
This one going on Gamm as well. Yep, that's 2 on him.
Gamm with a little bit of a knee there, trying to push Armstrong a little farther out on that little hook shot.
That's 6 on the Dutch.
9:12 to play here in the first half.
So a lot of basketball left in the first half.
This game's about to slow down tremendously if it continues this way. ball comes into Fordham. Lobs it into Ebling. Ebling with Towns on him, but he works him right down the paint. That little hook shot no good, and he's able to box him out and bring it back down. And you could probably hear Coach May right below us right now. Something there wasn't happy. Dennis Towns was able to pull that rebound in, and Brits kind of missed an easy shot right there. Good. Nice turnover that caused by the Britons right now with some real solid defense. And Jason Beckman, who we bragged about, throws it right over the head of the intended receiver and out of bounds.
Good defense by the Brits that time. I like the noise with the student section.
Yeah, I do too.
I like the atmosphere the cheerleaders had. This is a big-time game on a Wednesday night.
It is a big-time game on a Wednesday night. We lost the picture there for a minute, but we're working on it. It's right back here for you now. 14-12 as we head the other direction. Jump shot by Ebling is no good, but we got a whistle on the rebound.
And this one's actually going against Fordham, Jim.
There you go.
That'll be team foul number 7 against the Brits, so that'll put them in the bonus. So both teams teetering on the bonus arrow. Seemed like Hope was committing all the fouls, but then you look up and you see foul number 7 against the Britons. So it's Whistlepalooza tonight.
It is. Fordham with his first as McGivney comes back into the ball game, and Gamble will sit down. And Hawkins did get a breather here on that last timeout, as I believe the young man at the free throw line, Riley Lewis, was the guy that came in for Hawkins. Misses the free throw. Ball's fought for, and it comes out with Jalen Fordham. 14-12, Brits right in this ball game.
Neither team setting the world on fire on offense tonight.
Long three-point shots, no good. And McGivney, who just checked into the ball game, is able to pull it down and then hand it to Riley, who'll bring it to the front court. 8:08 to play, opening half. 14-12 ball game. This one isn't going to 80 tonight the way it's being played right now.
Give it time.
Beckham hands it off. Jump shot by Towns is no good. Ebling fights for it, but Towns comes up with it to McGivney, who drives the lane, leaves it short.
Over the back.
Rebound is coming off to the Britons, and you're right. Towns all over everybody there trying to fight for that rebound.
Yeah, without position.
Fordham with the basketball. Heads right side. Pull-up jumper from the right side. No good.
Man alive.
Boy, the Britons are shooting 25% from the field right now.
Letting them play. That was a lot of contact right there, Jim.
Jump shot by Davis will be good.
Hey, the offense in the basket.
And with that, we've got a timeout. Yeah, you kind of wondered if they put some sort of a contraption over that rim on our end, but that ball was not going in for a while.
Jim, I want to let folks at home know the college and community will come together at the Bohm Theater Monday, January 29 for the annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Convocation and Community Celebration. That's this coming Monday, the 29th at Bohm Theater.
Couple of quick stats for you right now. It's 14-12, Hope on top, or 14-14 here. Everybody tied up with that last jump shot. Britons right now shooting 5 of 21, just 24% from the floor. 5 of 18 for Hope, 27.8%. Neither team lighting it up behind the three-point arc tonight either. Hope 1 for 7, the Brits 2 for 8. Hope's been to the free throw line 5 times. They've hit 3 of them. The Brits have yet to go. So it's been an interesting ball game, and it's tied at 14 right now.
And remind folks, webcast at albion.edu. Shoot us a message and let us know where you're watching tonight's ball game.
No doubt about that. Let us know that you're out there tonight. McGivney with the basketball. He's got Armstrong on him. Give it off to Eddie. Back to Hawkins, who re-entered the ball game on that last whistle.
They're getting after it right now.
They really are. Both teams getting after it.
That's a good shot right there. Britons did everything on defense. Nice
Teddy
pass.
Ray, long pass to Armstrong. He slipped behind Ray and has the easy lay-in. McGivney and Ray a little chatting amongst the two. Hey, he's your man. No, he's my man. Well, he was standing all by himself under the bucket, so he's your man when I go see Coach.
One of us is wrong, and it wasn't me.
That's it, man. No doubt. Beckman with a jump shot, no good, but McGivney pulls in the rebound, and we got a traveling call.
Yep. He caught it, and then, he just showed you. You just took 2 steps when you did that.
Yep. I just pulled it in and took. Yep.
I pulled it, and then I took my left foot up, and then I put my right foot up.
Coach Greg Mitchell wanted a little explanation there from the Hope sideline.
If you could draw a picture of what a travel is,
yep.
That's exactly what a travel is.
Google it, man. Your face
throw
is
in your
now
Google
on
machine,
it.
Yep.
They've just replaced whatever was there with you.
There you go.
Nice lob pass inside to Ryan Lowe for an easy bucket. And the first time tonight,
he's going to have that mismatch all night, Jim.
The Britons are ahead by a point, 18-17. Bounce pass goes to Beckman, who gets cut off at the free throw line. Back out to Hawkins, down to the right corner to McGivney. And he's got the big guy Lowe on him, and Lowe's going to get charged for the call for the block.
Got to be careful. Don't stare down the official after that foul. You may not like it. You just shrug it off and you turn around.
For Lowe, that's his first tonight. For the team, again, they're in the bonus already. That's number 8.
That'll send McGivney to the line, and we'll get McGivney's stats here real quick. Only a 31% free throw shooter, Jim.
And he looked like it with that shot as Quay Burks comes down with a long tip.
He's only 1 for 4 from the free throw line in conference play, so doesn't go to the line a lot.
Not at all. Perry on the floor right now. Burks with the three-point shot from downtown, no good. And the rebound gets cleaned up by Dennis Towns.
Yep, back to the 1 and outs right now. The Brits need to continue crashing those offensive boards.
Hawkins had the ball altered by Forlam right down at the rim. Jump shot, no good, but Towns is there for the rebound. And is that going to go who against? 20?
20, yep.
Okay, all right.
So we'll get that one on Fordham.
Fordham. I'll go along with that one. I was worried that they were going to call that on Ryan Lowe, and Lowe started to make that reach over top and then pulled away, and I thought had done a pretty good job, and so did the official. McGivney will go take a bench, and Ryan Gamm comes back in the lineup real quick.
Freshman for the Dutch, giving them meaningful and quality minutes so far at the 5:20 mark of the first half.
Towns eyes the first one, soars it up in the air, no good, and Burks is right there to clean everything up. Neither team really having a night they're going to brag about shooting here this evening, but it's been a good ball game at 18-17.
They're a 72% free throw shooting team in conference play this season, so it's not like they're going 1 for every 5.
Perry lost the handle on the basketball. Beckman's there to pick it up. Gives it to his running mate Hawkins, and he brings it into the front court behind his back. Got cut off, and then the ball gets blocked by Ryan Lowe.
You don't want to guard him full time, though.
I don't think
if
so.
If you're not going to switch, I'm going to clear out and try to take you to school. Now he's going to just pull up from deep. I would have loved to have seen if they'd tried to clear out right there. It would have been fascinating to see if they'd made a switch.
Collins pulled down the rebound and brought it down. Then they fire the ball up in the air, and Hawkins pulls down the rebound, but he's standing on the end line.
I like the idea, though.
Yeah, I do too.
You have the mismatch every time, but they know that too, and they're going to do exactly what they just did for Hope. They're going to send a second player over to try to jump up and deflect that ball.
Ball made its way out of bounds, and Hawkins scooped it up just as he stepped on that big end in Britons on the end line there. Ball comes into Burks. Goes in the middle again, and we got a whistle and a holding foul, I think, again. Yep.
That'll be 3 on him. He just came back in.
So that'll send Lowe now.
So he's going to have to come right back out. Sam Vree is checking in another freshman. And that'll send Gamm back to the bench. Remember me?
Yeah. Yeah, I do, man. You were right here just a minute ago.
Is my seat still warm?
I think it probably is, man. That would be my guess right now. Lowe's a 63%er from the free throw line. First one stays home. Well, I'll tell you what, that spun and spun and spun and spun, and then it fell through.
But that's what you need on these rims.
That's it.
You know, if you have a soft touch and you put the right accent on it, these rims are kind, and they'll hold.
Second one also goes in. This time, nothing but swish. 20-17 now. Britain's on top by 3 with 4 minutes and 26 seconds and counting here in the first half. Hawkins gets cut off. Gets the ball to Beckman, who feeds Vree coming down the baseline. No good. Ball gets fought for and tipped out of bounds.
That was a bad call too, though, Jim.
I think so too. Dennis Towns is upset about everything.
Very careful right here. because you saw him stand up and he had the fist clenched and everything. I get he's mad, but if the official had been looking, don't think for a second he wouldn't be giving him the old capital T.
I think James L. Davis was the guy that touched it last, but it was a free-for-all.
It was a bad call. I mean, you know, you miss one. It happens, but you can't hulk up at the official.
Collins with the jumper, no good, but the putback by the big fella, Ryan Lowe.
And the reason that one's not an over the back right there is the guy in front with position has to make a play on the ball. You didn't make contact, you just went up. You're the only one that went up. Here's a cheapy foul, probably the makeup call against Perry.
Yep. Jawan Perry picks up his second foul now of the night.
And I think that's just an ebb and flow makeup call right there, Jim.
Beckman comes to the free throw line right now. He only hits 9.5 out of every 10, so maybe this is the half that we're looking for right now. Nope.
No, I think the half is it might hit the rim on the way down as well. That's the half.
Bree will sit. McGivney comes back into the ball game. Perry will take a seat for the Britons, and Davis back on the floor. 22-18 and a good first half of basketball here at the Kresge Gymnasium. We hope you're enjoying it. Second one also good. And you know what? That's only 4 points so far tonight for Jason Beckman. Maybe he got all those points out of his system there against Alma the other night. Let's hope. 22-19. Britton's looking to attack. Are they going to go inside again? Yep. Let's try a good thing.
That's a tough foul right there against McGivney. Had the forearm in the back. Want to take a moment, Jim, to say hi to a couple folks. Charles McMullen says, great broadcast tonight. I'm a Hope alum from Northern Virginia. Says, women are the Dutch, men are the Dutchmen. Please refer to the men as the Dutchmen. You got it.
We will do that. Thank you for that information tonight, too.
And thanks for watching from Northern Virginia. Also, thanks for streaming from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Don Overbeek. That's pretty cool. We're international now. Well, no, still in North America. That's not international, right?
No, not quite.
To me, it's international.
It's, you know, it is.
I'm pretty sheltered. I don't get out much.
You have to have a passport to get there, right?
That's true.
There you go. 8 points now for Lowe tonight. And Ryan Lowe, the big 6'11 junior, is right at his season average here already. Hawkins gives it to Beckman.
That's a tough shot right there.
And that was a very tough shot, very much contested by Collins. But I thought it was going in when it left his hand, though, too. I'll give you that.
Looked pretty comfortable shooting it, even though it was a tough shot.
Ryan to Burks. He'll bring it back outside. Now try to go to the rim against Towns. And they'll call that as just a solid block on Towns, and probably a good call. And the Dutchman.
That's why they get 80-some a game right there.
On the run out with Teddy Ray for the easy lay-in on the other end, 24-21.
You eliminate those transition opportunities. You make it the kind of crawling pace game that it is. And that's what the Brits need to do tonight.
Burke looked to feed that in, but McGivney with some pretty good pressure. Jump shot for threes, just off the mark, but Lowe's there with the putback. The big guy playing a game tonight now. He's got 10.
I'm surprised McGivney, it's been the second or third time he's been victimized by Lowe. Surprised you don't at least go up and just throw your hands up. There's a block.
Hawkins will be knocked around a little bit by the big guy, Ryan Lowe. And again, I don't think Mr. Hawkins wants to make a living doing that. That's a two-way street right there, Jimmy. Ryan Lowe doesn't want to make his living trying to guard Dante Hawkins, and Dante Hawkins doesn't want to make his living trying to run through Ryan Lowe.
No, and I get the feeling that it might have taken a few seconds for Lowe to feel that contact right there.
Exactly.
You know, small guard running in and bumping in. You know, it's oh, whoa, something happened?
Well, that one slid out, didn't it, huh?
I'll take that.
Yep. Lowe will get a chance to take a seat. He goes and sits down, and the replacement on the floor is Quentin Armstrong.
Substitution coming in for the Dutchman as well. Jeff Gorel checks in, and Rob McGivney checks back out. Again, webcast at albion.edu. Thank you for sending us those messages from Virginia and from Toronto, Canada. It's pretty cool.
Hawkins missed them both, and Armstrong's there to pull that one in. Wow, that's hard to believe. Hawkins with 6 points so far tonight. He leads all the Dutchmen with his 6. Quay Brooks comes out with Gorel on him. Kicks it to the right side. long three that Davis decides not to take to Collins.
Good screen.
Jump shot.
Nice shot.
Catches nothing but net. 28-21. That's 2 down for Collins tonight.
We're under 2 minutes to play, and Hope only has 21 points. That's amazing.
That is truly amazing. Hawkins with the basketball. Being contested
near travel
by Robert Ryan. Now Hawkins from the wing. Jump shot no good.
Nice
with the
follow.
putback. Boy, I'll tell you what.
Yep.
You've got to take your hat off tonight to Teddy Ray. Teddy Ray's been playing a pretty nice ball game.
You do, again, everything on defense right there. Just that last little bit.
Armstrong kicks it out front. Davis, no.
Good position on the box out right there.
Towns has done a nice job of that. I'll have to check his bounds, but that's got to be about a half a dozen for him tonight. Beckman with the quick fire, no good. Burks couldn't pull the ball down, and Goral does. Off the deck, trying to work his way around a Briton who was on the floor.
You can't stay down there forever, though, Jim. At some point, the numbers are going to catch up to you.
Finally stepped over Robert Ryan and was able to tip that one in. It's 28-25. We're under a minute to go in the first half.
The only noise right then was being made by the Dutchman bench, Jim.
Good crowd here tonight, as you can hear the noise tonight.
Got to knock this down.
Burks for three. No. Rebound. There you go. Armstrong.
Well done. Good patience. Again, you have to be willing to do that.
Yeah.
You take a pounding underneath when you're going for those rebounds, but it's so critical.
Got to get down and fight for that basketball against this team from Holland. 30-25.
I'm very surprised that they're playing. I mean, I get that trying to hold it to one basically right now. You know, there's about a 1.5 second difference. Lost the handle.
Here comes the run out. Ryan had it stripped away, but he picked it back up to Collins. Jump shot no good. Armstrong misses the rebound.
So that would have brought the house down at the half, Jim.
And the buzzer sounds, and the two teams will go to the locker room with the hometown Brits up 30-25 here on the Briton Sports Network. Boy, what a great first half of basketball, Jim, we saw. And again, I think if you're Coach Jody May, that's exactly what you wanted. You came out, your team is fired up. They're playing extremely well. This is the best we've seen them play all this year. They've come in with a good focus tonight. They know what is at hand for them here. They know that they've got a good crowd on hand with a little energy to keep them going.
Yeah.
And they've been feeding off of that so far and playing really solid defense against the Dutchmen here tonight.
Isn't it amazing, too, that all these changes that we've seen made in the Britons, you know, starting five and the rotations and things like that, you know, maybe they've finally found that chemistry they're looking for. But again, like you said at the beginning of the game, I look over at the student section underneath the right side basket.
Yep.
I don't see really a place to sit, at least in the first two sections there. That tells me that the old tried and true, the home crowd brings the energy, the players feed off that energy.
Yeah.
If the home crowd does not bring the energy, then it's hard to build that up artificially just within your bench. And so, you know, they're taking a team that's pretty fired up, but now they're making them really fired up, and not only thinking that they can do this, now they're believing they can do this.
Yeah.
And so it's a fantastic position to be in. Jim, I want to take a second before you get to the stats real quick. Man. Say hi to a few folks who checked in. Jack Klunder, hope I said your name right, sir, from Carabel, Florida. Hope graduate from 1974, said thank you for the broadcast. I return that compliment and say thank you for watching. John Thompson, John and Marshall says go Brits. So we finally got our first go Brits. It's always good to hear from fans of both squads, but we certainly love to hear the feedback from the Brits.
We really do. All right, let's take a look at those first half stats for these basketball teams. For the Britons, they have 30 points. They're ahead 30-25 right now. They shot 12 for 34, only 35% from the floor tonight. They're 2 for 13, 15% from behind the arc. But the good news is they're 4 for 4 from the free throw line here tonight. They've had 4 turnovers. They've also gotten 4 points off those turnovers. 23 total rebounds tonight compared to 27 for Hope. 8 offensive rebounds, 15 defensive rebounds. They've taken, let's see, how many shots did I say? They've taken 34 shots. They have 4 assists on that. So if there's one thing that Jody May might want to work on it is that normally you like to have a little better percentage of shots to assists, makes to assist, especially with something like that. 2 blocks on the night, 2 steals, 11 total fouls, 15 points off the bench, 8 second chance points, 12 points in the paint, and that has to do with a big old guy named Ryan Lowe that's 6'11" and takes up about half of that lane when he stands down there around the bucket. For Hope tonight, they're 9 of 32, only 28%. So the Brits shooting 35, Hope shooting 28% here in the first half. They're 2 for 12 from behind the arc, 17% basically. 5 of 11 from the free throw line, which is a little bit surprising for that basketball team that shoots a much better percentage than that on the year. In fact, as a team right now, we have them down at 75% on the year. So difficulties also extended to that free throw shooting here tonight. 7 turnovers compared to the Brits' 4. Points off a turnover only 2. They have 27 total rebounds, so 4 more rebounds than the Britons do. They have 12 offensive, 15 defensive rebounds, 3 assists compared to the 4 for the Britons. No blocks so far, 1 steal, 8 fouls, 8 bench points, 4 second chance points, and 8 points in the paint. Individually for the Hope Flying Dutchman, Dante Hawkins has 6 points. Jeff Gurl with 6 points. Jason Beckman with 4. Teddy Ray with 3. 2 points for Preston Granger. And that's it, man. At this point in time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys with scores here, or 6 guys that have scored so far for this basketball team tonight. That, again, a very unusual situation. And when you look at Beckman, he's 1 for 5, Jim, from the floor at this point in time. Missed both the 3-point shots that he's taken so far. Hit both these free throws. Has 1 assist and 4 points tonight after coming off those 40-plus against Alma here the other night. So, for Dante Hawkins, again, he's 2 for 8 from the field here tonight. And I think with both of those guys, part of the key has been the way, and we asked this question at the very beginning of the game, how is that front court of the Britons going to stack up with the front court so far of the Flying Dutchman? And the answer for at least a half is they've done a pretty decent job.
Well, the 2 things that they've done, one is circumstantial, and the other one is an absolute testament to the preparation. Number 1, early foul trouble. They got themselves in early foul trouble, forced them to start tinkering with their lineup, I think, earlier than they wanted to. Also, obviously, fouls stop the game, stop the flow of the game, like a timeout every time. So it's hard to kind of maintain that momentum. The other part of it is lack of transition opportunities. And that's the testament to the adjustments that Coach May has made, putting those players in a position. And their speed and their quickness tonight has also been the direct result of why they haven't had a lot of those transition opportunities. Even when they've gone 1 and out on the offensive end and the Dutchmen get the defensive board, they haven't been able to push and create mismatches, 2-on-1 transition opportunities, because the Britons have already had at least 1, if not 2 men back ready to pick that up, so it forced them to go into more of a half-court offense.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Ryan Lowe leads all the scorers tonight. He has 10. He is 3 for 4 from the field and 4 for 4 from the free throw line. So a pretty impressive start for him. He's got 5 rebounds tonight already, Jim.
Yep.
He does have the 2 personal fouls. Quentin Armstrong with 8 points for the Britons. Jemzel Davis with 5. Jawan Perry with 5. And Nathaniel Collins with 2. So both sides really not stretching that scoring around too many players tonight. But so far, the difference in that ball game scoring-wise has been the big guy in the middle, Ryan Lowe, who leads all scorers in that first half with 10 points.
Jim, before we take a halftime break, I'll do a couple of announcements on behalf of Albion College. I want to remind folks again, the college and community will come together at the Bohm Theater this Monday, January 29, for the annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Convocation and Community Celebration. You can contact the Gerald R. Ford Institute for Leadership and Public Policy and Service, one of the event's co-sponsors, at 517-629-0368 for more information. Also want to let people know the Black History Month movie series begins January 30th with a screening of Glory in the Bobbitt Hall Auditorium at 6 p.m. That begins January 30 at the Bobbitt Hall Auditorium at 6 o'clock. And also want to take a moment to say hello to Glenn Van Nord from Marco Island, Florida. Thank you so much for watching tonight, and hopefully it's a little bit warmer in Marco Island. I get the feeling that it is.
I got a sneaking hunch that it's not freezing down in Marco Island here this evening.
I think you're probably snow-free down in Marco Island. Hopefully you had a great holiday and are enjoying the broadcast. Of course, you can go to albion.edu, gobrits.com for all your winter sports. Don't forget to follow the Brits on Facebook and Twitter as well. And I think, Jim, we're probably going to take a quick timeout and then get ready for the second half.
Let me give you couple of quick scores real fast.
There you go.
Trying at the half up over Alma right now, 54-51. So it is not an easy Wednesday night for anybody at this point in time. Things are going to be tight as we work our way down through this second half of the season. And let's see, one other here very early on. Calvin leads Olivet right now 7-6. But they're only about 5 minutes into that first half here of that ball game was the latest score with that one. And with that one, we will take a couple minutes to step away. We'll be back in about 5 minutes to bring you the second half of the ball game between the Britons and the Flying Dutchmen.
Hi, I'm Zach Fisher. I'm chair of the theater department at Albion College, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret. In 2018, we're going to begin construction on a new downtown studio theater. Now, this space is going to be located in a storefront right on Superior Street adjoining the Bohm Theater. And we're so excited about this because it's going to be a true shared use facility. It's going to be just as much a part of the college as it is a part of the community art scene. It can be converted just within the course of a few hours from a live music venue. It has a sprung floor, so it will be perfect for dance performances. There's a large playing space that will accommodate theater in lots of different configurations. We could do things in the rounds. We could do things in a thrust space if we like. Our students are so enthusiastic about being able to take the campus art scene downtown. And so we're no longer going to just be in the community of Albion, but actually of the community. That means that we want to perform downtown. The students want to reach a broader audience. They want to draw in people from Albion and the surrounding towns, and they want to attract a bigger dialogue and host forums that attract people far and wide. Additionally, this facility is going to allow the organizations in town that have currently nowhere to perform or rehearse, and it's going to have an open door feel where anybody who is interested and focused and has a plan to present a piece of art, be it dance or live music or theater, or anything else that someone can dream up, will have an appropriate venue available to them for the first time. And this is really something that we see as a cultural beachhead in town. This is a way to show that Albion is invested in growing and collaborating with the local art scene. The theater department especially is so thrilled about this project because it's the first step in revitalizing our facilities as a department, and is hopefully the first phase of what will eventually become an expanded, brand new theater arts complex right downtown in the heart of Albion. We're so grateful for your support, and we appreciate you dreaming with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
And we're back here at the Kresge Gymnasium. Jim Funderburg along with Jim Bellamy here. And it's halftime, and the Britons are on top tonight, 30-25 at the half, and after a very exciting first half of basketball. But you know what, Jim, I think everybody gets to this point where you're somewhat in the middle part of January here. You're in that third week of basketball here in January. Everybody still has a bit of a shot. As far as nobody's been eliminated from that tournament, everybody knows that, and also everybody knows that the only way that they're going to stay in that hunt is to play some of the best basketball that they've got. And I think that's exactly what the Britons have done, at least in that first half.
And if they want to get into that tournament as a team that's 2-4 in the conference right now, playing a team that's 4-2, the only way you're going to do that is to play 40 minutes of championship basketball. And you know, you come out the first 20, you're ahead by 5 at the half. You've played excellent defense, certainly left quite a few points on the table. He didn't get as many offensive rebounds early as you like, but you hang your hat on all the positive things that happened in the first half. Again, they shut down the transition offense. The foul trouble took both teams, frankly, out of the rhythm, which I think is why the game is as relatively low scoring as it is. But statistically speaking, this is the Britons' kind of basketball game. Yeah. You get a team that scores in the 60s. They're at 30 right now. 30 times 2 is 60. That's their kind of basketball. I don't expect Hope to put 55 on the board in the second. I certainly hope they don't. As a Britons broadcaster, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, they're capable of doing it, but it's just not the way this game is playing. So it forces them to kind of reinvent themselves in the second half. They have foul trouble.
Yeah.
I think 3 guys with at least 2 fouls apiece. I think a couple with 3 fouls, if I remember right.
Let's go back and check that here for you real quick, but you're right. They did get into foul trouble kind of early. And let's go over here to Hope real quick. Let's see, fouls. You got Teddy Ray with 1, Dennis Towns with 1, 2 for Preston Granger, and 3 for Ryan Gamm, and then 1 for Rob McGivney.
Okay, so
McGivney,
Granger
I'm sorry.
and Gamm have the 3 and 2.
So your starting center and a young guy that they brought off the bench to spell those bigs kind of early. Both of them have some troubles.
And again, anytime there's a foul called, it's like a timeout. It's impossible. Well, I shouldn't say impossible. Nothing's impossible, but it's very difficult to maintain momentum and flow when the game is stopping as much as it does when you get those timeouts. So not that you expect. I certainly don't hope there's going to be a whistle every 30 seconds in the second half. I'd like the game to go a little bit longer than that without the foul. However, if it does end up that way like it did in the first half where both teams are in the bonus, it's going to mean that Hope is going to have to slow down. And that, again, is another thing that potentially plays to the Britons' favor.
One game in the conference right now that is not close, and that is the Adrian-Kalamazoo game, as they're, let's see, at the 16-minute mark already in the second half, and it's 33-18, Adrian on top of Kalamazoo, 4 minutes into the half number 2. So everything else is relatively close. But that one, and again, the team Adrian picked to come in this conference this year and win everything, trying to be able to keep that way here.
Take a guess the temperature in Marco Island, Florida right now. I love it that we get these
82.
Responses.
How's that?
You're a little on the high side.
Oh, okay, all right.
67.
67. Well, I'd move somewhere that's warm
in Marco Island,
now,
Florida. Hey, but at least the sun has gone down there too.
It's nighttime,
so
there.
It's dark there too.
It's cooler down there too. Yeah, it's every bit as dark down there as it is up here. Is what I guess we can hang our hat on here at this point in time. How's that? Again, Beckman, Hawkins, Towns, Ray, and Granger to open things up for Hope, and it is Wheeler, Davis, Collins, Ebling, and let's see, they won't go with Lowe Armstrong here to open things up for the Brits. So we're back to the starting 5 that opened up for both these teams. Wheeler tests and then gives it off. Davis goes into the lane and misses the shot, but Wheeler's there to pick up the rebound. Back to Davis, but it's tipped away by Hawkins. But it's recovered back in the backcourt there by the Britons. Jump shot's a little short, tipped up, and Armstrong's the young guy that skies the highest. Bounces it off of Towns and gets it over to Davis. Then back to Armstrong and back to Davis again. Davis will work on Hawkins.
This is where Ryan Lowe would be dominating in the middle, but you have to manage his minutes.
18 seconds to go as Wheeler backs his way right down the lane and turns and fires over top of Jason Beckman. And the first points of the second half go to the Britons.
And again, Wheeler starting the game only 19 points shy of 1,000. So he's inching closer.
Hawkins to Towns will swing it to Beckman. They'd like to get him off early here if they possibly can. Brits doing a good job. Ebling out in the face there of his guy, but they swing the ball back over to Beckman, and Beckman finds his first shot perfectly through the center of that rim.
That's that quick release that is very prominent in guard play in basketball these days.
32-28 now. Wheeler working on Beckman. Boy, they are bouncing off of one another tonight. This has been a very physical basketball game. Armstrong connects from downtown.
Just enough to keep the defense second guessing. Who do I have to commit extra to? If you can knock an outside shot like that down, unexpected, It puts a little bit of doubt in the defense's mind.
Ball swings to Towns. He's got Ebling. He drives into the lane, but there's a whistle before the shot as Ebling basically was beaten on the dribble and had to kind of reach out and touch somebody.
And that's why the ball was kind of mishandled and dribbled as high as it was right there, because if it wasn't, that would have been an obvious carry. That one bounced over his head right there, but there's a reason it went there. That's because of the foul.
Hawkins will inbounds. Davis will guard right there at the end line.
So we went 2 minutes without a foul.
Hawkins to the Beckman on the outside. That shot was missed, but
everybody
right there
ran
to
away
pick it
from
up
the
was
ball.
Teddy Ray. Granger has this one blocked. Down in the corner to Ray again.
It's cut.
Nice backdoor cut by Hawkins, and he got the ball out to Towns, and Ebling with his second foul in about the last 30 seconds. So for Ebling, that's now 2, I believe, on him. It says 1 on the scoreboard right now, but I think he got the last one too.
Either way, and again, it slows the game down to a crawl.
Davis didn't see the ball coming. If he'd have turned around, that would have hit him right in the numbers. Put an arm out, he tapped it out of bounds.
That's one of the things I'm noticing so far in this game. We're just over 1/2 through a basketball game, and Hope just doesn't look as comfortable in a half-court set as they do in transition.
Yeah, no doubt. Beckman throws the ball away.
I mean, they don't look like they have it tonight.
Davis with a nice little job of step in front of that pass. Jump shot by Collins, no good.
Over the back.
Yep, I think that's going against Armstrong.
Yep.
He's got some hops, man, but he doesn't have those kind of hops.
No, and again, it's what we saw with Lowe in the first half going over, but the guy in front this time had position, and he made a play at the ball, and he made a little contact, so that's an easier call for the official.
35, Britons 28, Dutchman.
I like the aggressiveness, though, on the offensive glass. He has been giving it 110%, Quentin Armstrong has on those rebounds. He's been fighting. Did it all first half, and he's doing it so far in the second half. You'll take that over the back every once in a while, as long as it isn't okay, you got 3 over the backs here in a half. Let's change it up. So I have no problem with that foul at all.
Jason Beckman brings the ball in the front court. He does have a 3-pointer here in the second half. 7 points on the night as Hawkins finds that friendly rim this time.
Soft touch.
Looked like it was going to be over the outside edge, and it just kind of stayed up there and fell through. 35-30. Davis with the basketball. Collins to Armstrong. Feed to Ebling underneath, and Hawkins comes underneath of him and tries to take it away. A jump ball situation, and the arrow is pointing towards Hope. So that'll be Hope's basketball. And the Britons the last couple times down the floor not doing a good job taking care of the rock.
You try in those situations to get a quick timeout before they get the tie, but then you have 2 or 3 players dive on you. And that pretty much takes it out of the picture.
Beckman again brings it back up. He has Collins on him, and he switched to Ebling. Back to Hawkins. Fire the ball down to Towns, and here comes the big guy. Armstrong came around and said, "Nope, Mr. Towns, nothing left here tonight." Nice pass to Ebling, but a little too much. Took his eye off the ball and lost it out of bounds.
That was a great play, though, Jim.
That was nice pass by Davis to get that ball into him.
Yep. I like everything about that, except it just a little bit too strong going in.
Jawan Perry will check in now for the Brits. Nathaniel Collins will sit down. Hawkins will bring into the front court. 35-30. 4 minutes into the second half. Beckman swings it over to the left side to Granger. Granger works his way in. He'll get Wheeler in the air. Missed the shot, but he'll get a chance to go to the free throw line.
A couple of good ball fakes right there.
And that's 3 on Corey Wheeler now. So he'll take a seat on the bench. They'll bring Quay Burks in. And I believe, they got 2 sitting down here now. Jalen Fordham also ready to check in. Granger, no, that one rolls out. Granger hits 7 out of 10. Ebling also comes to the bench here for coach. I tell you, you got to be happy with the way that Ebling's been playing on the defensive end. You wish he'd have been able to control that basketball for that little easy bunny that he had on that last offensive trip.
Big confidence builder.
Yep. Second one also missed, and the rebound comes long to James L. Davis.
Well, you said 7 out of 10. Shot clock.
Yep. Get that shot clock set up where it needs to be and get everybody reset on the floor. 4 minutes into the second half. Briton's trying to stay in the conversation for the conference championship and that tournament.
Muddy the middle.
Hope, who's already tied with 3 other teams on the top, would like to come out of Albion, Michigan tonight. We got a push.
And we have a conversation that doesn't need to happen. The players are getting a little more vocal with the officials, and the officials are very patient. But it's going to get emotional to the point where somebody's going to say the wrong thing at the wrong time. And then all of a sudden, things are going to go south. So
that's 3 on Granger now, as Coach Mitchell came down as far as he could to get his comments in.
Yeah, they don't worry about that line that they're supposed to stay behind.
Coach Mitchell, an interesting guy, the all-time three-point percentage leader for Hope, as the jump shot is missed by Davis and is rebounded by Teddy Ray.
You see that full court pickup right there. That's why he can't get any transition opportunities. This is the answer.
Ray showed it but didn't do it. Gives it to Towns.
I'm telling you, Hope just does not look comfortable in a half-court offense, Jim.
Beckman drives into the lane, a tough shot that is rebounded by the Britons Armstrong.
If you can start running transition on them, I know that's not necessarily the Britons' game plan tonight, but if you can start beating them with their own game and forcing them to play half court that they don't like playing, that's winning basketball.
Oh my goodness, Jalen Fordham says, I'll step back here behind this NBA line and drop a 3 on you. 38-30, timeout, Hope. Wow, interesting ball game, and Coach Mitchell out right now talking to the officials about exactly what happened on that Granger foul on the other end. And I think that was whatever they saw could not be seen from that end of the floor. All 3 officials were together with that call. There was an elbow, they're talking elbow, and a push and a shove. And, Coach Mitchell saying, you know what? I didn't see that from my end.
It's been a pretty physical game. They've let a lot of it go. So, I mean, how do you distinguish that, well, you should have called this and this one? I would say on almost every trip down, there's been something that you could probably call a whistle on. But at some point, you just have to let the young men play.
Yeah, no doubt.
Want to say hi to Travell Oaks, known as T.O., recent graduate, class of 16 of the men's basketball team. Wants to say, keep it up, Brits, and feed low the ball.
There you go.
He's got to be in the game first. But Mr. Oaks is watching from Central Michigan University, where he's a grad student. So thank you so much for tuning in. And also, Glenn Van Nord sent us another message, said, say hi to Kevin, how do you pronounce that name? I believe he's one of the referees tonight.
Oh, Cooker, I believe.
Cooker, okay.
Cooker,
Kevin
maybe
Cooker.
K-O-O-I-K-E-R.
So he's one of the officials tonight.
Cooker or Coker, one of the two.
Glenn, I'll do my best, but the officials prefer it when we don't holler down on the floor at them. So I'll think a hello and a best wishes for you. Hopefully that's okay.
Ryan Lowe checks into the ball game there on request with 14 minutes to play in this second half. Beckman cuts, throws to Granger, and Granger takes that extra step.
Yep, and that's because he had the footsteps of Mr. Ryan Lowe coming his way.
So the turnover gives the ball back to the Britons, who have an 8-point cushion right now. 14 and a half to play in the ball game.
It's just putting that thought in your head. Too far out.
Looking to feed that ball inside. Oh, yeah. Look out. Jalen Fordham all of a sudden has it dialed in. 41-30 now, Britons.
I love that noise I'm hearing, Jim Funderburg.
A lot of noise in this gym tonight as Towns with the basketball working on Burks. Feeds off to Granger coming down the baseline, and Granger is fouled.
Got Lowe on the foul right there. Kind of leaned over and got the arm. Should have let that one go.
It would have been a tough attempt for Granger, who was coming through the traffic. I think he probably would have gotten the bucket, but for Lowe, that's 3 fouls now on him on the night.
But that's why you foul.
Yeah. Granger, who's had a tough night here tonight from the free throw line, as Robert Ryan checks in for the Britons.
Again, 74% in conference from the line, giving you 11 a game in conference. Far below that total tonight, Jim.
Granger with the second try, and this one's good.
Substitution.
Substitution for the Britons is Nathaniel Collins. Nate Collins comes in.
Juwan Perry takes a seat. And we get a substitution. A fellow number 22, Riley Lewis, checks in. And Teddy Ray has a seat.
And out on that floor still Dante Hawkins, who's been the Iron Man tonight. As Ray got an early exit here in the second half, but he stayed out with Dante for an awful lot of that first half. Fordham almost lost the basketball. He's got Riley as he drives down the lane, puts it up a little too far. Oh, the big guy was going for the slam. Ryan Lowe was trying to bring the house down with that one. Kind of got a little too anxious on that one.
Yeah, you don't expect to be able to put a stuff down from that close.
Ball tipped out of bounds. It will be Hope's basketball, I believe.
That's a bad pass.
Yeah, it was just a bad pass, wasn't it? I thought one of the Brits got a hand on it down there in front of it, but didn't touch anybody.
The sooner you make this follow-up stuff attempt right here by Lowe, the sooner you make that commonplace.
Yeah.
I mean, just imagine he could be getting 20, 22 a night.
Yeah.
I mean, every trip down, it's a mismatch.
Well, you know, again, he's only a junior. He's got another year ahead of him.
Every trip down, Jim.
That's 12 for the big guy tonight as Granger puts one in very off-balanced.
Yeah, they were trying to force that one because Lowe wasn't back on defense.
Burks showed the three, then drives the lane. No, and the rebound comes off to Granger.
Yeah, a lot of contact on that one.
Well, as you said, they've been allowed to play ball tonight.
They have. Yep.
And I don't mind that if you're going to do it for both sides.
Exactly, and they have.
And they have.
They have.
It's been a physical game, but it's been the same game on both sides. Granger works into the lane, then kicks it back out to Riley. Hawkins from downtown.
Man, big shot. Good timeout here by Hope as well. Slow it down.
Yeah.
Ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Team that gets you 81 a night, and they want to slow it down right now.
Quay Burks looks like he's hobbling a little bit. He's got an ankle or a knee or something as he works his way to the bench. And I've got to believe that Quay's going to be taking a seat. Yes, indeed.
Yep. So
Corey Wheeler about ready to come back into the game.
Comes at an advantageous time for Coach May's squad as well. Want to say hi to Tyson and Kathy May, watching from Elida, Ohio. Thank you so much for watching. From the Buckeye State. That's where we travel from, or that's from where we travel. Right?
There you go.
Is that the college way of saying it?
I think that's the more proper way of saying it.
There you are.
Adrian on top of Kalamazoo with 9 minutes to play in the ball game, 43-30 right now. As we check around the conference just a little bit.
It's just great to hear all this noise, Jim.
Well, you know, the last couple games we did, the students were on break.
Yeah.
Well, and it's just not as much fun coming here with that.
It's hard to expect a student crowd when the students aren't here.
Alma's pulling the upset right now on Trine, and we got a blocking call that will go against Beckman as Corey Wheeler falls to the ground right in front of the Brits bench and the Brits cheering section where he ended up landing.
Yep.
Alma up 81-77 right now and Trine with just under 6 to play in that ball game.
Anything can happen, right?
Anything can happen, no doubt about it. It's that time of year. Armstrong with the jump. Wheeler going to work it inside. Couldn't get it, but got his own rebound and put it right back in. 45-34. Britons on top by 11 points now.
Corey Wheeler's toughness, Jim.
Yeah, it's just
posting
amazing.
Up as a guard, following your own shot. Love it.
You know, one of the few seniors on this basketball team, Robert Ryan and Corey Wheeler, both seniors. When you go down through the rest of that roster, Adam Davis, the only other senior on the team, and an awful lot of sophomores and freshmen.
Nathaniel Collins on the foul. That'll be his first.
6 fouls now
on the team, yeah.
on the Britons. Only 2 team fouls on Hope. Beckman gets some room and fires over top of Collins. Now you can see why this young fella has won the MIAA Player of the Week 3 times already.
Such a quick release, Jim.
Having a tough night tonight with only 9 for him. For most guys, you'd be happy. Wheeler tries to skip it over to Armstrong, and it gets kicked out of bounds. Preston Granger, the 6'6" freshman, and again, the young guys coming into this conference and coming into this league are going to be a whole lot of fun to watch for the next 4 years.
There's a lot of talent on these 2 squads, Jim. The records may not show it, but there's a lot of talent.
Inbounds come to Ebling. He works into the paint and gets that hometown bounce.
That's what you were saying earlier, Jim. You just get one of those to drop when you're putting your body on the line like that.
Yep.
Just see what kind of confidence it builds now.
So Ebling came back in for the big guy Ryan Lowe, who had picked up his 3rd foul. Towns gets double teamed, gives it to Granger, but Granger lost the basketball.
Slow it down here, slow it down. Or speed it up.
Oh, offensive charge.
Dip the shoulder.
Yep. Nate Collins.
And I would go so far as to say Beckman wasn't set there, but because he dipped the shoulder.
Yep.
That's where you use your judgment. You know, I mean, both guys, you can make a case, but because you dip the shoulder right here, watch. Feet aren't set, dip the shoulder though.
Yep.
That's the easy call for the official.
You made the contact, he didn't. You're right.
Yep.
I agree.
And he knocked that one down, so that's a double whammy.
That really
Foul on
is.
the board and 2 points off the board.
47-36. Hope's in the bonus, if you remember that.
They just do not look comfortable in a half-court set, Jim.
Beckman drives around the double team and then sets and fires, no good, and the rebound comes down to Corey Wheeler.
3 Britons on defensive glass, no Hope Dutchman.
Wheeler up and under, Dante Hawkins for a bucket.
Guards shouldn't be able to get in the paint that freely, Jim.
No, not at all.
But they are, and they're successful.
Well, he has no fear. He's a different guard.
You have to play with no fear.
Hawkins from the left side this time, no good, and guess who pulls it down? Number 4 says, I'm taking this game over right now.
You have 2 men down in the bleachers that almost bought popcorn there.
Beckman with the steal. Leaves the ball on the nice layup. Blocked for Teddy Ray, but it gets knocked away by Ebling.
And Quentin Armstrong on the hustle, Jim. Timeout. Good timeout.
Wow,
Get this crowd rocking a little bit.
I'll tell you, 10 minutes to
breath.
play here in this second half, man. It's a 13-point cushion right now for the Britons. But you know, the one thing that we've said and we've heard and we've been told, you know, they've had some leads at times, and they've given them away. Tonight, they look like a team that really is inspired to play all 40 minutes this evening.
Yes.
They got 10 more to play here, and if they can hang on to this thing, what a big upset tonight against Hope.
Something feels different about tonight.
Yeah.
It's not just a 13-point lead. You know, I know that they've had leads in the second half and sometimes haven't been able to hold them. Something feels different about tonight's game. I think part of it is the home crowd. They're lifting you up.
Yeah.
You know, part of it, they have 7 fouls on the board, so Hope's in the bonus the rest of the game, and they've only had 2 fouls called the other way. But I don't even look at that. I mean, yeah, it's a numerical disparity, but if you're a fan of the Brits, you say, well, how come they've only called 2 fouls against Hope? I haven't really seen that much contact to justify any whistles.
Right.
So they're playing a pretty clean game as far as that goes. You just have to take your hat off to the defensive intensity of the Albion Britons tonight. Hope does not look comfortable in a half-court set. They have not been able to get transition opportunities. They've forced them to slow the game down. They're playing Albion basketball.
To give you an idea, Hope now 13 of 44 for only 29.5% from the floor, 4 of 16 from behind the arc, 6 of 15 from the free throw line. The Brits now at 39%, 20 of 51, 5 of 19 from behind the arc, and they've hit all 4 free throws here this evening. 9 turnovers, or 11 turnovers for Hope, 8 turnovers for the Britons right now. Jump shot, floater, stays home. One of those nights, man. One of those nights. Jalen Fordham, 8 points now for Fordham on the evening. And they're feeding off that energy from the crowd and also feeding off the energy from each other here at this point in time. This is a confident Britons team tonight. Whistle and a reach-in foul will go against the Britons. James L. Davis, I believe, number 14. That's one on Davis.
But send everything from this point is free throws.
Well, the last time we saw the Brits men, and maybe this free throw situation is not a good thing for the Britons right now. I like the pace we're playing at this point in time.
Yep.
Let's not slow it down and stop it. But right now, every time they foul, Hope's going to the free throw line. And this fella, he loves going to the free throw line.
But they have a lot of ground to make up.
Hawkins drops down the first one. For Dante, that's 11 tonight. He is now 2 for 5, 1 for 5 from the free throw line. I spoke a little early there.
Look at a half-court trap opportunity.
Wheeler kicks it in the corner. Jump shot for 3. Yes, sir.
You don't even have to say it's good. You just hear the roar.
Jalen Fordham. He's got a couple of those tonight, and he was wide open when he let that one go. 17-point lead now for the Britons.
Looking for a high screen. Good fake. Nice move.
Nice
well
job
done
by Riley. Boy, I'll tell you what.
He's calling for the screen on his left side right there, and the defender bought into it, and it allowed him to just keep his eyes open and cut to the right.
Fordham, same spot. Nope, this
Left
one
that
a little short.
Yep.
Good job by Hawkins to force the issue in the corner. And a reach-in foul is what you don't want to do right now.
Wheeler, and that might be 4, I think.
That is 4 on Wheeler. Yep.
And that was before the elbows started swinging. You saw the elbows go flying, but you had a foul called before that happened.
Wheeler will take a seat. Nathaniel Collins back in. Nate going to come back into the ball game for the Britons.
And that's a shame, too, because Wheeler's on a nice run lately. Now you're pulling him out even though you're up 15.
9 team fouls against the Britons here in the second half.
He's a heart and soul kind of player in a game like tonight, Jim, so it doesn't do you a whole lot of good having him on the bench.
Teddy Ray now has 4 points on the night. That was his first trip to the free throw line. Second one's a little short, but we got a whistle, and I think somebody might have been in the lane a little early. Goro maybe got in there, or was it the shooter that stepped over the line a little early?
Might have been a few of them.
Too many black jerseys in the lane there, according to the officials, too early. Full court pressure again by Hope. Brits break that pressure pretty easily. Fordham working down in the corner. He's got a follower down there right now.
Token pressure more than anything so far.
Oh, baby. Lob pass, Ryan Lowe, easy bucket. Man, if you can put it over that right shoulder like that and lay it right there easy where he's got that big white box in front of him, he's going to make 9 out of 10 of those.
It's money.
Yep.
You can't guard it. They have no answer tonight.
Takeaway.
Stop this one.
End to end. Up and good.
2 points is 2 points.
Hey,
I'd love to have seen a jam right there.
That'd have brought all the students up out of their seats there, wouldn't it, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Did a pretty good job just getting the basket. 58-40 now. Goro drives. Ran into a little contact, set himself, and then nicely off the glass for an easy 2.
Hit the brakes right there, and everybody kind of just slid away from him over pursuit.
He must have had those brakes just redone here this last week or something. Rubber on the bottom of those tennis shoes a little bit better than everybody else's.
There you go.
Because, man, did he put the brakes on. Again, they're fronting the big guy down underneath.
Oh, yeah.
Shot. Collins. Yes, sir. And Hope wants a timeout. 7:20 to play in the ball game, and the Brits
running
with
away
a commanding 19-point cushion.
Want to let folks know the next Blues at the Bohm Jam session featuring Airtight runs from 7 to 10 p.m. on February 5th. Admission is just $5. Visit bohmtheatre.org. That's BOHMTHEATRE.org for more information. Blues at the Bohm, Airtight, February 5th.
That Alma game with Trine is tied at 86 now, Jim, with 1:23 to play in that ball game.
And you sounded so sure that you knew who was going to win.
Terrible, isn't it?
Anything can happen.
Probably jinxed him is what I did at that point in time. Let's see.
It's a close game and it's not over, so.
We'll check in with the Adrian Kalamazoo game right now.
But while you're looking up that, you can see on the screen right there, Coach May not only firing up his team, but he's fired up for you to send us an email at webcast@albion.edu.
There you go, man. Adrian on top of Kalamazoo, 61-36. I think that one's pretty much in the bag. And the other ball game that's out there is Calvin and Olivet. And at this moment, Olivet starting to run away against Calvin. They're at the half right now, and Olivet with a 12-point cushion, 42-20 or 42-30, with a new 20 minutes on the clock, and they're ready to get started over at Olivet again. 7:20 to play here, and the Brits on top by 19, 61-42.
Got a delay game warning on Hope. Must not have brought all 5 out in a timely manner.
Granger going to inbounds to Beckman. Beckman looking for some magic here at the Kresge. The Brits wanting to keep that to a minimum tonight. Towns working on Burks. Nice move by Towns. Yeah, you got to love that. Sized Burks up, got into the center of that lane, and just shot over the top of him. Brits now, will they keep this pace up, or will they slow things down a little bit, Jim?
Don't play not to lose.
I like that attitude. Burks feeds it inside.
That's okay.
Holding foul will go against Granger. That saved an easy bucket because Ryan Lowe had an easy lay-in.
And now, you know, that's team foul number 3, I believe, against the Dutchman. And I think they're going to have to continue to do that, because I would just keep doing exactly what they just did.
I
have
would
another
too.
mismatch down low. You see almost a double team down there. But you're going to go back to him. There you go.
He's looking for a cutter. Now he's going to move it into the lane.
Nice pass.
Kicks it back outside for the jump shot. James L. Davis.
Just when you think you know what's going to happen in the game, see, that's playing to win and not just playing not to lose right there.
It's a 20-point cushion now as Hawkins knocks down a triple, and Coach Mitchell wants to talk about it. I don't know what he's going to tell these guys right now. He's got 6 minutes and 19 seconds.
Looking for a spark.
And he's got to find something to keep him going. He's got to be happy with what happened. But I go back to what your comment on the other end. You know, when you did have an easy Ryan Lowe lay-in, and he didn't seem real happy that his team fouled. I don't think you had any other options at that second. That was an easy lay-in.
You have to.
You've only got 2 team fouls, you know.
Well, how many points does Lowe have?
Yeah, Lowe's got
16.
Let's see. I got to go over to the other side right now.
10 at halftime, right?
Somewhere in that ballpark right now.
We'll get 14 or 16 points, and he's gonna get 20.
Yeah, he definitely is.
It's not like they've drastically changed the offensive set when Lowe's in the game. He has a size mismatch on whoever's guarding him.
Yep.
They're going to force it down to him over the top. And unless you have somebody like a guard cutting under near the baseline, ready to try to take a swipe at that ball either on the way down to him or right when he catches it, the same thing's going to happen every time. So your only options are let him score and get out of his way, or foul him.
Yeah.
And they do have fouls to give, but that's of little consolation, because all it does is stop the clock, reset the shot clock, and give the Brits the ball back anyway.
Yep.
So what are your choices at that point?
You don't have a good one at that point in
You
time.
have to foul.
They're going to bring full court pressure right now and try to maybe steal a couple of points here as they trap in the backcourt. Fordham lost the handle, and there's one steal that they got. Hawkins spins. Top of the key, hits Granger. Granger with a lay-in.
This is how they get 80 a game right here.
Yep. And this is what, if you're the Britons, you're going to have to figure out a solution to here early.
Yep.
Davis
jump for the help.
To Burks. Granger with a blocking foul, I believe.
Got a bailout call.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. I think Burks was going to get an offensive charge there. Granger did a little bit of a lean.
Technical foul. That was coming. It's been coming all game, not just from him. There's been a lot of talking going on. And I said, remember earlier, you're going to say the wrong thing at the wrong time, the person's going to be seeing it. Players and coaches have been fortunate so far. This time it was seen. It was in plain sight.
Coach Mitchell saying 2 things. First, he traveled,
He did.
And then he thought he had an offensive foul, and I would agree with maybe both of those, yeah.
I think he traveled before he got the offensive foul. There was no doubt there was a great trap set up at half court.
There sure was. Yep.
And I think they missed one on that. But you can't do that to the officials.
No, you can't. That's the worst thing that you could possibly do. And again, you're in the middle of the game.
And it's a stoppage.
It is a stoppage.
So all eyes are on you right at midcourt. And you run past your line up to midcourt. You can't do it.
And the Brits knock down a couple there as Nate Collins goes to the free throw line and hits both of them. Now they'll have the basketball. So those 4 that you made up real quickly with the steal, all of a sudden half of those have evaporated. And if the Brits can put another bucket here, you've evaporated both those 4s.
And there were 17 fouls to 2, and now it's 9 to 5, and it's probably going to be 9 to 6 if you try to feed it down to low.
Yeah, no doubt.
So that's why, again, when I looked at 2-team fouls against the Dutchmen for a majority of the second half, I wasn't concerned because they hadn't really played an overly physical half. Now the game situation is forcing them to change. Lowe's going to take a seat, and Quentin Armstrong is going to check back in. But I would give a guy like Quentin Armstrong, Jim, an MVP of the game consideration. Not for the points necessarily, but for all of the other things he's done. Keeping possessions alive, going for the loose balls, fighting for rebounds. He's doing a lot of the dirty work that you have to do to win a game like this.
Yeah, you're right, Jim. I agree 100%. Robert Ryan brings the ball up. He's got Hawkins on him.
Nice cut.
Backdoor cut by Collins. And the foul.
Now it's just frustration.
Yep.
You can see it on the face of Dennis Towns, number 15. I believe he got the foul. You could just see the frustration on their face. I think the Dutchmen know it's only 17. There's a lot of time left, but you can kind of see it in their faces. Sometimes you just know a night isn't your night. Britons need to keep up the intensity, though.
Nate Collins now has made 2 out of the last 3.
I think he made both his technicals.
Yeah, he did. So he's made 2 out of the last 3.
Yeah, you got
it. And now he's done his 4th one, and he's going to get this one. Rip. There you go. I knew that one. 3 out of 4.
He needed everybody to leave.
Yeah.
He does better when there's nobody there.
18-point game. 5:42 to play. Hawkins with the drive and the foul as he goes to the rim. Doesn't get the bucket.
Maybe a little bit of a makeup call there.
Robert Ryan will draw the foul for the Britons, and Hawkins will go to the free throw line. That's 10 now on the Brits, so double bonus time for the Dutchmen for the rest of this basketball game. And again, Coach Mitchell not happy with some things, but this has been a pretty evenly called ball game all the way around. And if you want an example, if you want me to give you a good example, 10 team fouls in the second half on the Brits, 16 fouls on the Dutchmen here in this second half.
In both cases, the first half and the second half, the Dutchmen were in the bonus.
Yep, exactly.
So I mean, if you're looking at,
there's been a couple of calls. Yeah, there's been a couple of calls that he's not liked, but there's been a couple of calls both ways. Exactly. And Hawkins knocks both of them down. So it's a 16-point game.
Don't throw to the corners.
And it's a full court pressure again as Birch will bring the ball up to Fordham. Fordham will slow things down.
Lowe was wide open, and they thought, nope, we need to burn time.
Yep.
Because he would have absolutely dunked that one.
James L. Davis working with Riley Lewis. Now the lob pass in the triple team, and they took that thing away.
Well done.
5:17 to play.
Is it too little too late for the Dutchman, though?
Well, you don't know. This is high-powered offense. Hawkins for 3, and that was a long one there. 67-54. It's a 13-point game with 5 minutes to play in the game, and again, full court pressure. Fordham brings it across.
If you triple team, somebody has to be open.
No doubt about it. So now you got to look for where the open guy is. 20 seconds on the shot clock, and the Britons are going to burn a little time here. 4:48 on the game clock. Fordham all the way.
There you go.
Dish back outside. Set. Nope. 3-point no good, and the rebound comes off to Hope. And Lowe will get a cheap one there.
Yeah. Should have known better right there. Had no shot at the ball.
Teddy Ray on the rebound, and he'll walk to the other end to shoot a couple. And for Ryan Lowe now, that is 4 personals and 14 points on the night.
I really thought he was, still could. Looked like he was really headed for an easy 20-point night the way they were playing him on defense.
They've changed things up just a little bit. Last time he was triple team.
But
First free
it's
throws
also
are good.
Still a 13-point lead. There's just not as much intensity on the offensive side.
Yeah.
They still have it on the defensive side, but they have to put this game away.
They do have to put this game away because Hope's not just going to stop playing on you. That's for darn sure.
And there's a lot of time left.
Second one is also missed, and Burks was able to box out and get the rebound. Quay Burks, double team. Dribbles and then throws all the way to Armstrong for the easy lay-in. I'll tell you what, I don't know how Armstrong got so wide open in the back. Everybody waiting for that steal and that quick run out, I think, and they took an extra step, and Burks was able to find Armstrong underneath the hoop for an easy two.
Just selling out, really. All or
they
nothing.
Really were. Collins pulls down the bound. Hawkins on the reach in. Yeah, you're right, Jimmy. I think they were selling out, and they've had some pretty good success turning that ball over.
And you have to. You have to.
Yep. Right now,
you can't just stay back and play passive defense and let them run the shot clock down. You have to go for it.
13-point ball game. This young fella has had a pretty good night, Nathaniel Collins. Couple free throws right here will make it a little bit better. First one, nothing but cords.
I want to say hi to Elizabeth Jewell. She says, thanks for broadcasting. Go Brits. I echo that sentiment. Also, Tanner Hafler watching from Holland says, go Flying Dutchman, especially Dante Hawkins. Went to school with him. Thank you for watching, Tanner. And Tanner also wrote, Hope is coming back. I respectfully disagree.
Well, they're not going to stop.
They're not going to stop.
They're definitely going to they're going to give it a good run right now. Towns down inside to Beckman. Beckman kicks it over to the left side to Lewis, and Lewis is fouled. And that is 5 on Corey Wheeler.
So Wheeler barely just checked in. He's got to check back out.
So Wheeler has to take a seat. Right now, the Dutchman shooting 37% from the floor, 32% from behind the arc, 6 for 9.
And I'll have to wait at least one more game to reach a 1,000-point milestone.
Yeah. Britain's right at this point in time shooting 45% from the floor as the first free throw goes in. 8 for 24, 33% from behind the arc, 9 for 10 from the free throw line after really not going to that free throw line for the vast majority of the first half.
And being in the bonus.
Yeah,
they were in the bonus quite a bit of that first half.
They sure were. Again, full court pressure as this game is 15 points. And we got a jump ball situation. And the arrow pointed towards the Britons this time.
That's the first tie up in quite a while.
Yeah, and again, if you want to, right in front of Coach Mitchell, if you want to say you're getting things called against you here tonight, that could have very easily been a foul on either one of the Hope players. But they let the game play exactly that way. Nice, solid play and effort by both of the Dutchmen, and they let the thing go.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a lot of bumping going on. You just couldn't hear the whistle over the crowd.
Hawkins with the reach in as Robert Ryan was on the run for the rim.
Teddy Ray on the foul. That'll be 2 on him.
15-point contest right now. As Ryan goes to the free throw line, he hits 8.5 out of 10.
Now you just need to knock these down. Now you're in the bonus. Both teams in the bonus. Now I think you can play a little more conservative.
First one is good.
There you go. As long as you're knocking down those free throws, you can play conservative. If you're missing front ends or you're only getting 1 out of 2 on these trips, then I think you still have to play to win. But you're getting to that point time-wise where you can start to be a little bit more conservative on offense.
Goro checks in for Riley Lewis as they go a little bit bigger now. And the second one also good. And the Britons
step up, force them to pick that ball up. There you go. Never let that ball roll to half court.
Hawkins drives and dishes. Towns lost the handle there for a minute. Ball's on the floor. Jump ball situation, timeout, Jody May. That arrow was pointed towards Hope, so that one was going to go towards the Dutchman. But May real quickly gets off of that bench and starts putting those hands together.
Yeah, and the player is going to try to call timeout. Actually did a barrel roll over another player. I don't think you're allowed to do that, but The coach called that timeout, I believe, right there. Helped him out.
All right, let's see. Points in the paint tonight. 26 points in the paint for the Britons, 16 for the Dutchmen. Bench points tonight, Jimmy. 34 bench points for the Britons tonight compared to 14 for Hope. Fouls tonight, 21 team fouls for the Britons, 16 team fouls for Hope. 5 steals for the Brits, 3 steals for the Dutchmen tonight. Let's see, rebounds. I think the Dutchmen have been, well, they had led that most of the game, but now the Britons up by 2, 37-35. And again, neither team shooting lights out here tonight.
No.
But the Britons shooting much better at 45% from the field, 37% for Hope here this evening.
Just watching that beautiful pass from Burks to Armstrong, beating that full court press for that layup.
They're looking for that baseball pass with every look right now because Hope's really trying to crunch that backcourt.
Yep.
Inside to Burks.
Kick it back out.
Spin. Missed it. Armstrong for the tip.
Just been everywhere tonight.
Man, that young fella's got some ups.
They have needed his energy, though, Jim.
19-point cushion right now for the Brits. Hawkins with the foul against the Brits. It'll be a blocking foul on Burke.
I think that's a good call.
Yep.
Again, not set. We've seen a lot of that tonight where they'll go up for contact. Player will get the contact, but again, his feet aren't set before the ball handler leaves his feet.
Dante Hawkins leads everybody in scoring tonight. He has 22 points, 7 for 14, 50% from the floor, 4 for 8 from behind the arc, 4 for 8 from the free throw line. Add to that 5 rebounds, 2 assists. This young fella has been a lot of fun to watch. And I think he's the, let's see, he's a senior of the bunch. When a junior, Hawkins a senior. So this will be his final time here at the Kresge. And that's a shame because, boy, he's a lot of fun to watch. 23 now as he knocks that one down the lefty. 3:14 to play in the ball game. Brits on top by 18. Second one also good. And we'll see that pressure again from the Dutchman. Again, these two teams will meet up on the 17th of February, the last Saturday of the season, up in Holland. And we have a whistle.
Shot clock.
Yep, shot clock in moving again.
26, they're going to reset it at.
3:10 on the game clock and 26 on the shot clock right now. And the game clock's gone up to 31 minutes. It's been a good game, and I wouldn't mind watching another 31, but I think let's play the last 3:10, put the win, and put the W on the board, and then we'll play the last 28 for fun. How's that?
Yeah, you give them 31.
Yeah, I think they'll come back and get you maybe then.
Yeah, Hope has some time to make a comeback.
Hawkins will pick up the foul this time on Robert and Ryan right in front of us.
I mean, we're only playing 40 in regulation, so.
Yeah, that's.
I know these young men have a lot of energy, but.
Yep.
Let's not extend if we don't have to.
I think we'll keep the magic down to 3 minutes and 9 more seconds, and then we'll not worry about it anymore as Armstrong knocks down the free throw.
I am all kinds of impressed with the freshman Quentin Armstrong. Just carries himself so well out there on the floor, Jim. A lot of energy. Does not look like a freshman out there on the floor.
Knocks both of them down, and the Brits now again back up to that 19-point spread. Hawkins turns and fires, no good, and Armstrong goes way up in the air and grabs it, and I think that was an intentional foul pretty much by Teddy Ray. He just grabbed a hold of Armstrong
and he didn't have the ball.
Yeah.
I know you're going to the line anyway, so it's kind of moot, but
yep.
10 needs 2 shots anyway, but there's no question that you're just grabbing to stop the clock at that point.
Because you really had a run out going. I mean, you had no way to put that defense on them, that full court press on them, because they got the rebound and they were heading. Boy, that pretty much sums up the night, though, for the Britons, doesn't it?
Sure does. That
ball looked like it had no chance of staying home. Spun around that rim then a couple of times and went right back down.
There you go. Got him both.
And the Britons now putting up numbers like the Dutchmen normally put up.
That's what I was just looking at the scoreboard saying it sure doesn't feel like they're almost to 80 points, Jim.
And just like that, I'll tell you what, Hope says, let's call off the dogs, bud.
Time to bring out some of the younger players and see what we have, because this one's going to the home team.
Matt Zansford, number 10. We'll get all the numbers that we can get for you here right now. 11 is Luke Dreyer. Number 4 is Danny Beckman, the younger of the two Beckmans. Number 20, who just scored that one, is Max Gation. And there's a whole lot of new faces out here. Matt Zansford is number 10. So those are your 5 now for Hope.
And they're still showing full court press, but no trap now.
Trying to get some of the young guys a little time here as they force it up. I thought we were going to force a turnover, and they do get it. Armstrong able to pull that thing in, and I'll tell you what, Coach Jody May, you want to talk about some intensity right now.
Coaching them up.
He is now 19 points ahead, and you'd think he was 3 points down.
It's focus.
It's exactly it.
You lost focus. That's why you lose leads in the second half.
Hope with the basketball.
So it's setting a mindset that you're up 19, you're going to win, but don't settle.
Lob pass goes underneath, and Burks is right there to defend. Whoa, there was an extra step or two taken, but no call for Hackett. Shot's no good, but the rebound is put back up and in by Max Gation, the 6'7" freshman out of Stevensville, Michigan.
Again, full court, but no pressure really, just picking him up man full court.
Fordham will give the ball off to Robert Ryan. Comes back over here to Collins, and you give it up to Fordham.
I think it's tough defense, but no fouls.
Fordham up and under. And the Brits now over the 80-point mark.
Looking for subs.
Yeah, I would think that the Britons now are going to bring a lot of new faces off this bench.
Yeah, as soon as Hope made those subs, as soon as Coach Mitchell brought those 2 or 3 players in, I think that was kind of the way of looking over and nodding, saying, you got this one, good game.
Here we go. You got Arshwan Parker, number 10. Adam Davis, 52. Nathan Kellum is number 40. 22 is Juwan Perry, who's played a pretty good night of basketball for this team already, as the Britons now make substitutions here to end the night. Run and jump shot will stay down for Luke Dreyer.
Man, didn't even hear that whistle.
And he will pick up the foul on the block.
Adam Davis, I believe.
Austin Thompson, 32, the number 5 guy for the Brits here. Free throw is good. Lead comes down to 16, and the Britons step over the end line. Adam Davis with the violation.
If the lapse in focus didn't make Coach May happy, I can't think that one will make him happy.
Oh, no. That one will probably be in some of the game film study here tomorrow. Gee, Coach, we're down to 1 minute and 20 seconds to play. I don't care. 17 to shoot as the ball kind of rolls around the floor of the Kresge. Long three-pointer. Holy mackerel, that was a good one by Calvin Heckert. Heckert's able to knock that one down for his first points of the night.
No trap.
Under a minute to play now with the Brits up by 13. Jump shot up.
There you go.
Nothing but switch here for Juwan Perry. Perry now with 8 points tonight.
That's the nail right there.
37 ticks left as the shots missed. And the Brits have the basketball, and they're running.
I love it. Why hold back? Go for it.
Juwan Perry with the lay-in. 86-68. Long three-point shot, and the rebound comes off
pick up that
for
ball.
the Britons. 19
now we
ticks.
just shake hands. Yep, this one's over. Jump behind you.
10 seconds.
Game's
9
not
seconds.
over, guys.
Hope's going to play it out. Take it on in and score it, man. Get your name. Go ahead and get your name in the scorebook here tonight. Nope. They're going to dribble it out and call it a night.
Probably the right call.
86-68. Britons with a surprise victory tonight over the Hope Dutchmen.
I think the camera shot Ken Reeker has right there on the right side, that's a big reason why you see the score that you do. You have to take your hat off to the student section. Very well represented tonight. Tremendous atmosphere for a Wednesday night basketball game.
Oh, this was a fun one, Jim. I'll tell you what. Like I said, we've been up here a couple times this year so far when the students weren't around, and it was a whole different ball game. It was kind of like playing basketball at church.
Yeah.
It was. It was just that quiet, and you're waiting for them to pass the collection plate there around and ask you for a couple of bucks. But tonight, man, the crowd showed up and the team showed up, and the Britons pull off an 18-point win, 86-68, over the Flying Dutchman from Hope. As the Brits go over to get the congratulations from all of their fans. As we take a look at the final stats here in a minute. A lot of people in here tonight using their phones and getting their stats tonight, and we've kind of had to battle every now and then with some statistics, but I'm sure Bobby will probably give us a hard copy here in a minute also to work on.
Yep.
But what a ball game tonight. And Jim, I'll tell you, if you can all of a sudden harness this energy, okay, who knows, you know?
It's like we said at the beginning, Jim. If they're going to get in the tournament, and I don't have any reason to think they can't at this point. Sneaking up now 3 and 4, they're muddy in the middle, like we said. The teams you're going to play in the tournament are the teams like the team you're facing tonight in all likelihood.
Yeah.
And if you can beat them, and you know you can beat them, and if you can duplicate this feat, especially if you can go to Holland, and if the Brits can win on the road to this team as well, these are the kind of teams you're going to face in the tournament. These are the kind of games you're going to have, and you've seen now a potential weakness for the Dutchmen.
Yeah.
You've seen if you can cut off their transition opportunities and you can force them into a half-court set. Not that, they're not going to have many off nights like they had tonight.
Right.
But you have to say, and I truly believe, the reason they had an off night tonight is because of the defense of the Brits.
Yeah, that was the best defense we've seen the Brits play for a while.
Absolutely.
Since we've been around, really. They played extremely well tonight.
If you can force them to those two things, then you've shown that you have the blueprint to beat this team. So then it's just one other game at that point.
Yeah, and that's exactly how you have to deal with it from this point on. The road does not get easier, Jimmy. Olivet comes to town this Saturday at 3 o'clock against the Britons. And Olivet, as we've seen, one of those 4 teams that came into tonight on top of the conference. Now there's only 3. Then you go to Adrian, you go to Alma. You come back home on February the 7th with Kalamazoo. And then you have Trine coming to town on the 10th. Calvin comes to town on the 14th on Valentine's Day, and we'll be doing that basketball game here on the Briton Sports Network. And you end the season up on the 17th day of February at Hope in Holland, Michigan, there in one of the most beautiful facilities basically in the Midwest to play basketball in. So it will be an interesting way out because you've got to play all of the big hitters on your way out. But again,
who better to play?
That's who you want to play.
Yeah, I mean,
that's who you're
going to see in the tournament. And if you're able to win that tournament and get into the NCAAs, then you're going to see teams that are just as good, if not better. So, again, you're going to need to prove yourself against the best, and that's who you're going to see in the tournament. So, I say who better to play at this point than the top of the conference. Let's really see where this men's team is.
I had one of the moms coming over looking for a stat sheet here a minute ago that I was trying to coordinate with. I'm not sure.
Head to her right about 30 feet.
Whose mom it was, but I said that way in about 5 minutes you're probably able to get that thing done. Let's look at some final numbers here tonight, and I'll tell you they were a little bit of an eye-opener tonight, Jim, when you take a look at this whole thing. The Britons score 86 tonight. Hope was 68 points. The Britons ended up shooting almost 48% from the floor tonight, Jim, 31 of 65. Hope shot 39%, much to your point about the defense played by the Britons tonight.
Oh, yeah.
23 of 59. Hope only 7 of 22, 32% from behind the arc tonight. Britons were just a little better, 9 of 25 for 36%. Free throws, the Britons hit 94% of their free throws, 15 of 16 tonight, Jim. And Hope very uncharacteristically had a tough night at the free throw line.
They did.
15 of 28 for only 54% tonight. Both teams with 13 turnovers. Britons had 13 points off those turnovers. The Flying Dutchman had 10 points off those turnovers. Rebound-wise, the Brits came on late in the ball game. They end up with 42 total rebounds compared to 35 for the Flying Dutchman tonight. 16 assists for the Britons tonight, 8 assists for the Dutchman tonight, 5 blocks for the Britons tonight, no blocks for the Dutchman tonight. 6 steals for the Britons, 4 steals for the Dutchman, 23 fouls for the Britons tonight, 18 for the Dutchman. And as we talked so many times, that had the Dutchman standing on that free throw line very early in both halves here tonight. And they really were not able to take advantage of it because they didn't really hit those free throws this evening.
No, and the fouls, I really think, were, you know, as strange as this is to say, usually when you run up the foul totals on the other team and you put yourself in the bonus, it usually seems like it would be an advantageous situation. But if you can't knock down your free throws, obviously that doesn't help. But the other part of it, I think, was a real detriment to Hope in that first half was all of the stoppages of play.
Yeah,
I think they really wanted to play a faster tempo, and the way the game went with the fouls and with the stoppages, it never materialized.
Yeah.
And I think that really kind of threw them for a loop. They had a tough time adjusting, not making excuses for them, and they won't make excuses. It's a good basketball team. But there's no question that that will mess up the flow. And if you are a flow team, and you get in the 80s, means you like to run, you want your transition opportunities. If you don't get those and the play stops on a regular basis, it's changing the entire game for you, and they just did not do enough to adjust to that. And the Britons did. And they were able to play in that slowed down pace. And then when they needed to turn up the tempo, they turned up the tempo. And they did a fantastic job of playing a few different ways.
Yeah, they no doubt about that. Let's look at the individual stats here for tonight. Dante Hawkins led all scorers tonight with 24 points. Jason Beckman with only 9 tonight after 41 points there the other night against Alma. 3 for Preston Granger, 4 for Teddy Ray, 4 for Dennis Towns, 3 for Luke Dreyer, 4 for Matt Gation. Riley Lewis had 6, Calvin Heckert with 3, Jeff Gorel with 8, and that rounds out the 68 there tonight for the gentleman from Hope who came down from Holland for the Britons tonight, as we let the coach grab his breath here for just a second or two, I think, as he came dashing up those steps here tonight. Total points tonight, the Brits were led tonight by Quentin Armstrong with 19. Nathaniel Collins had 10, 2 for Caden Ebling, 6 for Corey Wheeler, 8 for James L. Davis tonight, and they were big points. Robert Ryan with 2. Jalen Fordham, another guy who had some big points, 13 of them tonight, 2 for 3 from behind the arc. Jawan Perry had 10 also tonight. Quay Burks with 2, and the big fella, Ryan Lowe, he ended the night with 14 points tonight. When you put them all together, that totals up to 86, which is a real big night here for the Britons, and an 86-68 win tonight over the Flying Dutchman from Hope as Coach Jody May steps in here with us. Well, Coach, I'll tell you what, last time we saw you play, you didn't play quite like this tonight. The energy level tonight, the defense tonight, everything, man, was just a step above. Great night. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a credit to the guys, and because, you know, we've gone through some struggles this year, and I credit to them, and I credit our 3 seniors for kind of hanging with it. And it's really, you know, I give those 3 seniors all the credit because they've been really good in practice, and they keep believing. And you know, tonight was a benefit of those guys. Just, you know, always doing the right thing and continue to believe in it.
Well, I'll tell you what, you guys came out from that opening whistle here tonight, man, and just worked your tails off on that defensive end, didn't you?
Yeah, I thought we did, and really, you know, it took us a while to even score.
Yes, it did.
But
the game didn't get
wasn't
away
too far
from
away.
You.
That's right. And you know, I think what we've learned from our experiences that's happened in the past to us, and we kind of put our heads down because we weren't scoring and we forgot to play defense, and that's when it gets away from you.
Yeah.
And tonight it didn't, because they stuck to it defensively and didn't give many easy shots, and you know, so it was you know, it started for 40 minutes, you know, and I've got 3 things that I've been telling them since the league play started that, I think the team that wins is usually tougher, plays harder, and smarter.
Yep.
And, I think in the first half, we did 2 of the 3, but I thought they were a little tougher than us. They were getting loose balls, they were getting offensive rebounds. And if you take those offensive rebounds and those loose balls, which led to buckets, I don't think they have 25 points in the first half.
Yeah.
But I thought the second half, we did all 3 of them.
Yeah, hats off. It was really a fun game tonight. You had a crowd in here tonight?
Yeah, finally. It's our first game of the whole year since the students were here that we've had a home game. So it's great.
That had to make a big difference, man.
They
didn't let you let down tonight, did it, huh?
They were awesome here, and it was great to have them and great to have this atmosphere, and that's what Kresge Gym's all about, the historic gym, and being really loud and makes the opponent really intimidated sometimes. So,
yeah, and it's hard to intimidate Hope.
Yes, it is.
No, they're not a team that intimidates easy.
Yep, it is.
Coach, let's. You mentioned toughness and playing hard. Quentin Jackson, really
Armstrong.
kind of embodied that tonight.
Yep.
Just talk a little bit about what he brought to the team tonight. It seemed like he was the emotional lift this team really needed.
He really was, and he's
Quentin Armstrong. Sorry.
Yeah, Armstrong. That's fine. And Quentin's a freshman. And, we really started 3 freshmen. Caden Ebeling was listed as a sophomore, but he played 3 games last year and got hurt. So we started three freshmen, and, he is just a kid that has unlimited potential. And what he might not know from a basketball standpoint, is he in the right spot? Is he setting screens the right way? He just plays basketball and goes and rebounds and is tough. And you get him around the basket, he's a pretty good player around the hoop, and he's a hooper, and he goes out there and plays, and we're working with him about executing the plays and all that stuff, but the bottom line, he just goes and does it.
Yeah, there's a real instinct to what he does, and I think the instinct is the stuff he can't teach.
That's right.
So just when you needed it in the first half, the team was a little timid on the offensive glass. Hope did a good job keeping it a 1 and out a lot.
Yep.
He's the one who kind of started to reverse that trend, and he really kept at it in the second half. And then I think a lot of other guys followed suit.
That's right, and he just has a knack to go get a ball, kind of out of his place of where he's at. So if the ball is on the other side, he has a knack of going to get that ball on the other side, where some guys, they have to rebound or whatever around them. That's the only rebound they can get. He can go get them. And I thought he did a really good job with that.
He can get up off the ground a little bit, too.
He's a pretty quick jumper, yes.
He reminds you a lot of that fellow sitting over to your left. He was a jumper as a younger fellow.
I can tell.
You can tell.
Yeah, definitely.
They've got that build, don't they?
That's right.
Only if there's a wild animal underneath. That's about the only time.
Let's talk about the big fella inside, because it did seem like there was a time there for a while where every time you threw the ball in the low and the low post, he was unstoppable.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And you had to see that coming into the ball game tonight. That is a huge advantage you have with it.
Yeah. Well, and we've been really playing 4 posts, and we really didn't think they could guard us very well inside. They're thin, being a little smaller, and maybe a little inexperienced in the post. And, that was a point of emphasis coming into the game, that, we thought we could expose them a little bit in the post. And I thought they did a pretty good job guarding us in the first half. We did get the ball inside a couple times, numerous times, and we didn't score. But then it kind of changed a little bit. I think part of it is we hit some shots from the perimeter, which opened some things up inside.
Sure.
And then, which really helped our post players.
Yeah, it really did. Let's talk about the other side, because they've got a couple of guards on that basketball team. Dante Hawkins had a real fine night tonight.
He did.
But Mr. Beckman, you pretty well throttled him. And if you can keep one of those 2 guys under control the way you did tonight, 86-68.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and our goal was to hold them under 65. And so I'm really upset about the guys who got in and didn't do that. But no, I'm just kidding. Those guys who got in the end, I'm really proud of them, because we've been on them hard about practicing. And those guys have played really, really hard in practice. And I think that's the turn. You see the benefits of it when we're starting to win some games because our practices are better. But back to Hawkins and Beckman, I don't think there's a better tandem in the league.
Yeah.
And they're both very high-powered scoring threat guards. And to be honest, we haven't done a very good job all year of guarding guys like on the perimeter. But I thought that, going into the game, I actually told the guys, I said, look, if you can just hold them under, 1 point under their average.
Yeah. We've got a shot.
We've got a shot at
really
it. We just can't. Beckman had 41 the other night against Alma, and you can't let them go crazy where they're going 30 or 35 points, and the other one gets 20. You're in trouble then. And Hawkins got it going a little bit, and it's. Freshman on him the first possession, and he knocks down a three because he wasn't doing his job and pressuring him, and then he has a really good night, and it's a learning lesson for a freshman guarding him, but I thought the guys that we rotated guys on Beckman, and they did a really, really good job. And then I also want to credit our team playing defense, because the things that he does, you can't stop with one guy. Yeah. And we were in the gaps and really helped when he got loose, and it really caused some tough shots for him that I don't think he was used to shooting.
You're right. He only got a half a dozen good looks all night long.
Yep.
He took several shots, but most of them were all contested. He had people all over him all night long.
Yeah.
Jalen Fordham hit a couple of big shots for you down the end, man.
Yeah.
That nice little three hit from the corner over here brought everybody up, and I think at that point and that moment, everybody in this gym realized we're going to pull this off tonight.
Yep, and he was a big lift. We're just when the nights that we can get some perimeter shots to go down, I think we're really tough to beat. And we've been really streaky, but hey, to Jalen's credit, he's probably been the most consistent wing player we've had from a scoring standpoint and from a shooting standpoint since the league has started, and I was really happy to see those go down, because I think our team needed that confidence that hey, we can win, but also I think Jalen needs that continued confidence that hey, I'm a good player at this level and I can shoot it. And he has a tendency to play really well against Hope. His very first college game, varsity game, was against Hope, and he had 24 or 25 as a freshman, so
there you go.
He plays well against them.
Let's play him every night. Now
let's not. But
hey, I've got to credit the coach tonight too, because there were a couple times sitting over here to my right that there was enough noise going on that I could hear it in my headset, over everything else that was going, because this was a loud gym. But I think the coach and all the players tonight never lost your focus, man, and you didn't let them lose their focus tonight. Every time it looked like something was going to happen, all of a sudden there was a young fella coming off the bench to my right over here, and the guys seemed to straighten up and go.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not one to complain a lot about officiating, but at one point in the second half it was 9-2. Against us.
Yes.
And and I think that we've had that in the past, and I think our guys lost focus about what is really important. We're still up in the game, but even though the fouls are going against us, and they lose focus on what they're doing, so we've worked with them, with that, and to credit, they, didn't lose their composure, and they very easily could have complained about everything, and they didn't, so it was credit to those guys.
I want to get one more new name, because the last time we were here, we did not see James L. Davis play any basketball. That young fella had some good minutes for you tonight.
He did. And, he's a scoring threat.
Yes.
And, he might not have shot the ball well tonight. I don't even know what he was, but he's a scoring threat, and he's a scoring point guard. And, I think it gives us a lift when you have another threat out there on the perimeter. And I think we've got a really good luxury to have a player like James L., but then a senior like Robert Ryan who can mentor him, and he's doing a really good job of being a senior and coaching him up. And then that could be a hard thing, because here's a freshman taking over your spot at starting, and as I said, our seniors have been really stepped up and done a really good job, and Robert's, so I think he has a chance to be a special player here.
Corey Wheeler fouled out for you tonight, but boy, the intensity level he brought to this gym tonight was through the roof as well.
Yeah. He's always going to bring it.
Yeah.
And that's That's how he is.
Jimmy and I always get a kick out of seeing that fella go down to the rim because he just seems like the kind of guy that likes to take the ball to the hoop, doesn't he? Huh?
He does, and he loves contact, and he loves getting physical, and when they call fouls on him, he gets frustrated because he wants to be physical, and sometimes he goes a little overboard. But he's our emotional leader, and he was a he didn't have a great scoring game tonight, but we don't win that game without Corey, right? And just all the little things that he does.
Well, Coach, you were going into this thing today at 2-4. The neat thing was the guys on the top were only 4-2 in this conference. Yeah. So nobody's out of this race at this point in time, but you've got some big games coming. How do you deal with the remainder of this schedule there to be able to maybe put yourself in the tournament yet?
Well, we just finished our first round, and so now we've played everybody once. They've seen everybody, and the challenge is can we be consistent in how hard we're going, how tough we are, and how smart we are. And if we have that consistency through the next 7 games, we've got a good chance to do that. And I'll say that for any team in the league. If you can do that through the next 7 games, you're going to put yourself in a really good position at the end of the year. Yeah. And so whoever's going to be most consistent with those has a really good chance.
Well, it looks like you got it headed in the right direction right now, Coach. We got a chance to come back for the Calvin game to do our last game here of the season. But from the last time we were here, when we watched you play Adrian, and that a real rough night that night to right now, I think things are heading in the right direction. So congratulations. Big win tonight, Coach.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it, and appreciate you guys being here and doing the great job.
Had a lot of fun tonight. There were a lot of people that were checking in with us tonight. We had folks in Canada tonight.
Oh, great.
We had folks all over the world here tonight watching the ball game, and it was a good one to watch, especially if you're a Brits fan tonight.
Yep. Well, thank you.
Good deal, Coach. Good luck with Olivet this week.
Thanks.
And just keep them up. Keep them going this direction.
Good job,
All right, we'll see what we can do. Thanks.
Coach Jody May, our guest here as we wrap everything up today on the Briton Sports Network. And again, what a wonderful basketball game tonight. Everybody that came tonight for the Briton side, at least, Jimmy, went home feeling really happy, I would think, at this point in time, as they did a nice job tonight, winning 86-68 over Hope.
Want to thank the coach for coming up, giving us a few minutes, and want to remind everybody at home for complete details on this evening's game, as well as all other news and notes on Britain's winter sports. Visit GoBrits.com. Our thanks to folks who made this game possible tonight. Of course, producer extraordinaire Ken Rieker and Drea Hill doing the cameras. For the college, we want to thank Matt Arend, the Director of Athletics, and Bobby Lee, the Sports Information Director. This game was a production of Richer Productions and FJ Productions. And thank you, as always, for tuning into the Briton Sports Network. Have a great evening, everybody.